Hello Internet, welcome back to the Fast Travel Lounge. You're listening to episode 120. My name is Patrick, I'm joined by Saif, say hi.
Yeah, hello.
And Steve, say hi.
Milady.
Well, that might be the worst one yet, so...
I already want this episode over.
Alright, thanks for listening, everyone.
Yeah. and I hope someone was recording the split. I think we hit the gold time for any percent speed kind of a Fast Travel Lounge episode. Right, I really don't know how to segue off that. How have people been? I am sleep deprived as hell because spoiler, we're going to get to that in Round the Lounge. Been playing a little bit of Space Marine, some would say, just like a little taster, a little smorgasbord of Space Marine 2.
Yeah, I'm also in the sleep deprived state because I've been picking back up streaming again, and some of them have been ending at like 1 to 2 a.m. on a work night, and I'm like, no, I need to stop doing this. Like, I need to stop doing this at, like, ending the stream at this time specifically. I need to end at, like, 11 to midnight.
That sounds like me in my peak degenerate Dota playing phase.
Just one more game. But no, I'm not sleep deprived. I've been going to bed at like 10:30. Waking up about 6.
This guy.
How does it feel to have a healthy sleeping schedule?
If it makes you feel any better, like, when I wake up, I go to the gym, like, first thing. The 6:20 class. Lift a couple of weights. Start sweating. You know,
I hate this. Can we skip to Steamcharts? I don't want to feel worse than
we
I
currently
am.
We gotta get ready for Brat Summer.
We've
got to be on the brown rice and the chicken, fellas. We've got to get ready for Brat Summer.
I want to ask you guys a question. So,
is it about Brat Summer?
Real random question. It's just something that hit me today. I thought I should bring up on the podcast.
Yeah, you know what? It is about Brat Summer.
All right, finally.
When you guys are working from home, do you guys have to like dress like you are going into work, or are you guys able to just function while in like tracky pants?
I don't own tracky pants. So when I go into the office, I wear my suit of armor, which is just like a suit with an open collar type of thing. But when I'm at home, I'm just in a t-shirt and shorts, unless I've got like an external facing meeting, and then I'll chuck on a collared shirt. But I don't. Yeah.
Yeah, no, ever since I've been doing uni work like from home and then going into work from home environment, I felt like, no, I need to be in clothes I would be if I was actually going into the office and into the studio. Otherwise, I just can't function properly.
Interesting. Yeah, no, I also dress just in my regular, like, bum around the house clothes, which are definitely not the clothes that I would show up to my workplace in.
What if like your boss breaks into your house?
I'm just a freak here.
Yeah.
Yeah, good to know. Surprised. But what if your boss breaks into your house and is like, hey, we got a meeting right now. Why aren't you dressed?
I'd probably have like an hour heads up.
Like, what if you don't? Your boss needs you now. Those company profits are falling.
Yeah, but it'd take them an hour to get here. That's how I'd have the hour heads up.
The shareholders want their increased value. What are you doing?
I replace myself with AI. That's what I'm doing.
Couldn't be any worse.
Love that for you. Hope it works out.
Anyway, Steamcharts?
Yeah, Steamcharts.
Okay, easy one this week. We're just going to be comparing two Final Fantasy games because Final Fantasy 16 just came out on Steam. So we're just going to compare how it did to Final Fantasy 15.
Higher.
Well, you only bought one deluxe edition of Final Fantasy 15, but you've got 7 of Final Fantasy 16.
Yeah, but those are on PlayStation, so
Steve,
they don't count towards Steam
You're getting
charts.
confused. Final Fantasy 7 is the game that came out recently.
Again? Didn't that come out 3 years ago?
Yeah, and then it also came out like 23 years ago. So it's cyclic.
I think that needs another remaster. It's been like 6 months.
Maybe it'll come to Xbox.
You know, oh god, we can only hope. That's what we'll get into it in the news, but that's what that fucking Xbox thing is, a Tokyo Game Show. If Phil Summer doesn't do something with that, he's gonna lose it.
I told you this already. The only thing that's happening at TGS is that Phil Summer is going to show up and go, Konnichiwa Minasan, Xbox no Phil des.
God, I love that. And he says it like no good.
He says it exactly like that.
And then Sarah Bond will show up and instead of saying Minasan, she'll say Mini-san.
And then she'll turn into like the sun and melt everybody. And she'll be like, the last game studio we're closing is you, the viewer.
Anyway, we got off topic. Final Fantasy 16 and Final Fantasy 15, which is higher, which is lower, and give me an estimate on their all-time peak player counts.
All right, which is higher, which is lower? I'm going to guess that Final Fantasy 16 is higher and that Final Fantasy 16 is lower. Final answer.
What?
You said 16 twice.
You can't get both.
Did I stutter?
Okay, so if you want Steven to win by default, then yeah.
What do you mean? I guaranteed at least 1 point.
He's got you there. No, hang on. No, anyway, so I think that I also think that Final Fantasy 16 is higher, but this is blasphemy to me because Final Fantasy 15 is the better game. I think Final Fantasy 16 peaked with 10,000 players.
Okay, and what do you think 15 peaked with?
Oh, sorry, I forgot about that. 7,000 players.
I'm going to go 16 higher, and it peaked with 16,000 players. And 15 peaked with 15,000 players.
Yeah, good one. You've gone over twice.
Yeah, thank you.
Finally, I win.
Okay, just give me... I don't need to type out the answers properly.
Holy shit. Yeah, no, quick one this week, guys, yeah.
No, so you're both wrong on which is higher, because Final Fantasy 15 was higher. And
Wholly based.
But did you account for daylight saving?
I think Steamcharts does that for me automatically. But
but
he has no fucking clue what he's talking about. It's not daylight savings yet.
No, but it's spring forward, so Final Fantasy goes forward to, from 15 to 16.
And Patrick gets a score for the closest without going over numbers. 16 peaked at 27.5k, and 15 peaked at 29.4k.
Holy shit, they're closer than I thought. They did better.
So
they're
what
very
I'm hearing is
close.
that I won.
Barely.
Stop paying attention. I heard that I won. Moving on.
Happy
Thanks
for
for
you.
playing.
Oh, sorry, that happened.
But the real winner is Final Fantasy 15, though. One of the goats.
The real winner of the fantasies we finaled along the way.
Oh,
good.
God, that's a good game.
All right, so round the lounge for this week. God, this is such a painfully not well-flowing intro, but don't worry, I'm sure it'll pick up. Other than Space Marine, trying to think what else been up to. Ooh, yes, Platinumed Astro Bot. So finally, in like some would say that Saif walked so that I could run, and by walked I mean got the platinum trophy first, so that I could run, and by run I mean got the platinum trophy second.
I encouraged him by doing the thing and then saying, "Wow, this is a good game."
Yeah, no, it was a hard sell. It was a hard sell. Yeah, that and Space Marine 2. Keen to talk about Space Marine 2.
Two Space, two Marine.
Yeah, 2 Space, 2 Marine. Exactly. That's the. See, I didn't realize you're a big fan, Steve. You've been playing it?
I love all the Warhammers and the 40,000 of them.
Oh yeah, you love all Warhammers. Name all 40,000 of them.
There's War. There's Hammer. There's Nail. Can't forget Nail. He's a good character.
There's Grumpy, Sleepy, Happy.
There's Tongs. Sora from Kingdom Hearts, of course.
My favorite chapter of the Space Marines is FBL.
Come on, man.
The Past Builders Lounge.
Okay, that was what I was thinking you was going to say.
That was a stretch. Right. Yeah.
Tom Bombadil's in there because he didn't make it to the Lord of the Rings films.
Hagrid from Harry Potter, he's in there. You know what?
Henry Cavill is in there, by the way.
Oh yeah, he is too. Which means Superman, Wolverine, they're in there as well. Deadpool's probably
not in the news docket, but Henry Cavill has been playing a lot of Space Marine 2, and he won't tell people his username.
Absolute dog. You reckon his username's like Henry Cavill 1 or something?
No, his username will be like Kenry Havel.
It's Henry Cavill, but the L is a 1.
Ooh, yeah.
Ooh, that's a good one. It's like Henry Cavill, but
Henry
like
Cavill, but the R is backwards, like Toys R Us.
Or Korn.
This Cavill, Korn.
You know the band.
Korn, like the band, yeah.
Yeah, not the thing that you eat a long way.
Yeah.
I've got some corn in the
vegetable
fridge.
that removed Jason Derulo's teeth, you know. Oh, good. Anyway, what have you been up to, Steve?
I have been playing Like a Dragon. No, sorry, Yakuza Like a Dragon.
You've been playing Like a Dragon? Wow, what do dragons play?
They play Spyro.
Like a Dragon Yakuza. No, I've been playing Like a Dragon Yakuza. So that's what I've been playing. But no, that's a fantastic game. I'm going to 100% it. It's going to take me like 40 fucking years, but I'm going to 100% it.
You're going to start Infinite Wealth, and then you'll be like, I'm going to 100% this, get 20 hours in, and go, never mind.
Well, I'm already like 50 or 60 hours into Like a Dragon. Like, it's just like the final fucking dungeon I've got to do. And everyone's like, nope, you've got to have like the best of everything. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, Infinite Wealth has like an entire like Pokemon mini island you have to complete, and that takes like 20 hours itself. Yeah,
or Dondoki Island, whatever it's called. Yeah, I've heard very good things about that.
I've also heard very good things about that.
But that's the sequel. I'm just talking about Yakuza Like a Dragon. And that's what I've been pretty much putting a lot of my time into. What about you, Steph? Steph, yes, I don't know. I nearly called you Steph for a second there. You know what? I'm rebranding you to Steph. Close enough.
No one should be interested in what I have to say because I watched a Borderlands movie.
Do you want to talk about it?
I mean, I guess it'll help
Did
me
you
cope.
pay money for it?
Well,
Did you pay money for it?
No, I didn't pay money for it. I will talk
Oh,
about how
right.
I
You
got it
pirated
so
it.
when I
Interesting.
talk about it in my section.
you
Okay.
did the smart thing and pirated it.
Kinda. I'll get to it. Don't worry. I'll explain
Yeah.
the terms of my piracy in the very funny way when it's my turn to talk about the movie.
We'll get there. So Astro Bot, more like Astro Goat. Picking this back up from where we left off before. You hadn't platinum when we were talking about this 2 weeks ago, had you?
No, I think I had platinumed it, or I just needed to do some cleanup, but I had 100%ed the main objectives.
Oh wow. Okay. Cool. Well, the couple bits I want to touch on. One, the Horizon level, very fun. Was that the level that you alluded to last app?
No, the one I was alluding to was the Loco Roco level, because I was saying there's two levels that are very interesting, while the other three are they're kind of just normal Astrobot levels with PlayStation skins over them, and you get like a weapon. But the Ape Escape level was interesting because they just make an Ape Escape level for you to do. And the Loco Roco one was very, very interesting because they just made a 3D Loco Roco level. And I applaud them for doing that. I wasn't expecting that to be the pool they did for the PSP representation.
True. Yeah, and that was a very good level.
And they translated that game over really well because Loco Roco on the PSP is a 2D game. So it's insane that they just managed to do a 3D version of that and nail it. But yeah, also the thing I was alluding to was like, hey, when I finished the Uncharted level, I was like, you know what? Horizon got some play in that first announced trailer. We saw the Aloy bot and her doing some things. There's going to be a Horizon level in this game, and I'm going to start dreading that. And I started having that feeling around the world where Loco Roco was going to be the next level. So I hit Loco Roco, I was like, oh, hey, this is a nice surprise. Then I finished it, it's like, oh wait, there's only one more world left, and that's going to be the Horizon level. Of fucking course, at Horizon, the industry plant gets to be the last real level of the game.
Hey, it could have been Concord.
Could have been Concord.
It could have been. Surprised it wasn't, though, to be honest. They're shilling
Yeah,
it
no,
everywhere else.
so was I.
Yeah, no, Concord was too recent to be in the game.
here's to the next 30 years. Yeah, I don't have a huge amount to add. I did like that they had little Easter eggy bits for each one. Like I was kind of hoping something would happen when I go and take out all the ravens in the God of War level, for example. And you know you get some coins. Like it does acknowledge it, but I sort of
They're mostly
it to
just
be,
for trophies.
Yeah, exactly. A little bit more. Some of the trophies I didn't have to like look up as to how to do them, but there were some trophies that definitely like that I just sort of accidentally got much easier than other ones. In terms of this is specifically like the cleanup run, like things like the dolphin ring I got just by basically messing around on the level. The trophy where you have to go through the dolphin ring. The underwater one I think is that level, which
the level that has the Palico as one of the VIP bots you can get.
Yes, yeah, and that also threw me for a loop of seeing the Palico bot because I did not associate that with PlayStation IP, but then remembered that World was PlayStation exclusive.
The series started on PSP and PS2 as well before moving over to 3DS.
Yep, no, that is a very good point. Yep, I got my start with Monster Hunter on PSP, so you're right. That's on me for not digging back through the old history. Yeah, the final you've collected every bot. Here's like a final platforming challengey bit type thing. That was cool. I got
very
shown
fun
that
level.
I got shown that at 1:45 in the morning, and thought, oh yeah, I'll just knock this one out real quick. And there was one piece of it. I can't quite remember which one, but there was one piece that just kept catching me out over and over again. And it was the PlayStation symbols rocking back and forth with the like slime spitting enemy like attached to one side.
Yep. The blocks with the slimes on them.
Yeah, and the bit that kept getting me, and this sort of goes back to like the platform feelingness of, I understand that it's a skill issue because I'm playing this while tired at like 1 a.m. and just not quite, and just slightly misinputting, but it's really annoying, I guess, when you would otherwise assume you'd landed and therefore get your double jump back, and instead you land so close to the platform without actually landing on it that you use your second jump to propel you forwards and then don't have a second jump to actually maneuver anywhere and then die.
Yeah, it's one of those things where the game not having coyote time really screws it over.
A little bit, yeah. There was that, and there was one other where it's just the.
Hang on, wait a minute. Did you just say coyote time?
Yeah, I believe that's the platformer term. It's where you get a. You know how Wile E. Coyote cartoons, he stands in midair for a little while before he realizes, oh, hey, I'm not standing on anything, and then gravity kicks in. But
yeah, and he looks at the camera and he holds up a sign that says help. Yeah, classic. That's one of the all-time gags.
Yeah, in platformers, a lot of them have like leniency where it's like, oh, you get like this many frames after you get off a ledge, and it still counts as your first jump. And that's where like Donkey Kong Country, you do a roll off the edge and it still counts as your first jump if you're still mid-roll animation. And I believe it's coined coyote timing. I talked about this last week.
Yeah, you did. You should have been there. Should have been paying attention.
Well, not all of us have $1 million to be paying attention, all right?
Well, this is going to be on the final exam, okay, Steve? I need you to sharpen up.
Yeah, well,
okay?
I'll study when it comes up, man. I'll study when it comes up.
Don't lie, you never studied for an exam.
Yeah, and I turned out all right.
Yeah, same. I never studied. I still got straight B's and A's.
I suspect it's the sort of thing. I know that I made comparisons to Sly Cooper before, and Sly Cooper definitely had a double jump mechanic, but I don't remember there being. To be honest, I don't remember there being any kind of difficult platforming sections. But I don't remember a platformer like Sly Cooper needing, because the bit that really screws it is that like because of the direction the platforms are moving in, it determines whether or not a single or a double jump will even get you there, and that's the bit that kind of throws it off a little bit. Of if it was side to side movement, it's fine because you don't need the second jump to go forwards as far, but because the block is rotating forwards and it always looks like you're catching it on the 45-degree angle before it tips over, it's, man, the number of times of just like, oh, I guess I don't have a second jump, huh? And then just dying.
Yeah, I got tripped up at that same point, but it was more of a timing misdirection. Like, I'd be making my way over to the second block that's moving over, but the slime enemy would shoot at the exact frame I was about to get land, and there was nothing I could do to avoid it.
That definitely happened to me a few times as well. But overall, I'm not going to say that the level troubled me greatly. I know that it was one of those. If I went to bed and woke up, I'd be super fine with it. It was just one of those like, this is the last thing, and then you just lock in and you just keep playing until you get that last thing. So it probably did take me 30 or 40 minutes, which it definitely shouldn't have.
I got to that level at about 3 to 3:30 in the morning, and it took me about 20 to 25 minutes.
Here we go. Yeah, well, we can't all be Yusef.
Skill issue.
I can be.
I really appreciated it. After all of that hard work, the final rewards were the final bot is Chop Chop Master Onion from Parappa to Rapper, and you also get like a retro-themed outfit and controller.
Yes, that was quite cool.
Like, what's the point of getting it, though? You finished it. You've done everything.
Replay the game. Replay the levels you like in the retro skin.
But why? There's no, like, achievements to get.
For fun. And achievement cleanup was there. I still had to do a few things after finishing that final level to get to platinum. Yeah. Like,
so did I.
Okay.
Patrick mentioned one of the easy ones was, hey, I just did this level where the main crux of it is swimming, and then you jump out of the water and go through a dolphin hoop. And that was very easy to figure out because you just kind of do it and it gives you the trophy.
Yeah.
One that I had to do on cleanup was going back to the tree level, the tree that sings, and then while it's singing, keep spraying it with water to make it stop.
See, I got that one on the first playthrough just because I thought it would be funny if.
And you know what? It is funny if. I just didn't think of that.
Wow.
And I also needed to find a last treasure in the Uncharted level. Speaking of which...
Yeah, so did I.
The Uncharted level, you said you'd have to go back to it to see if you change your mind on it. Did it change your mind after doing another playthrough?
Not really. Like the level's fine. I don't know. It's really hard. I think it really, because I'm pretty sure this is what I said last time, and that it's just like the setting of the level is still very much this could be an Astro Bot level. You just have Uncharted-y things happening within it. That the Loco Roco level is very clearly a Loco Roco level. The God of War level is very clearly a God of War level, but because Uncharted is kind of Indiana Jonesy jungle-y, there are also Indiana Jonesy jungle-y levels in Astro Bot anyway, that I think it just felt a little samey. I know there's stuff like the Jeep comes crashing over and like that's cool, and like the pirate ships and other stuff. That's all fine. That's all like little nods to it, but it just didn't grab me the same. I don't know. I didn't the second playthrough wasn't as much of a I get to fall in love with this level properly as I sort of hoped it would be.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I get where you're coming from, but I also feel like the God of War and the Horizon level are still a little bit like, yeah, these are kind of Astro Body levels, except for the Horizon level at the very end where it's got that chase sequence and you're basically doing a turret section. It's like, oh hey, this is kind of like a neat set piece that isn't in any of the other levels. The God of War one has the boss fight at the end and all the
I did hear that. I did hear that's that God of War song as well, the boy one. I just heard it in a meme like last week. Fan-fucking-tastic.
It's so
I
good.
haven't played that God of War game, but I am very, 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 very good and very, very impressed with that reference.
I need to go back and listen to the Uncharted one again, but apparently they've got voice clips of Drake when he's freaking out throughout that song as well.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that I heard it as clearly on either.
Yeah, no, it's not as clear as the boy and into the beat drop.
Overall, I also do really appreciate the fact that I was able to finish Astro Bot and then go, yes, this game is very good. I want to platinum this, and then go and platinum it. And yes, I've now done everything. I don't feel the need to go back and return to it. But at the same time, it's very... I kind of actually like that it's a very self-contained... What was that, like 15? Let's say 20 hours. I don't know how long I ended up spending on it, but let's say 20 hours to platinum it. That is like it's done everything that it set out to do, and then that's cool.
Yeah, and then it's just one of those things that's just like, yeah, no, I could pop this in if I wanted to do a replay of it, and I want to do a replay of it just to see what a minimal percentage run looks like for the final boss, because the final boss sequence is really cool, where it's like, oh hey, all of the bots that you saved are now here helping you out. This lead up into it is like this big space shooter segment, and I'm very surprised that they went to Sega and was like, hey, you did this this space shooter on the PS1. Can we just take one of the songs from that game because people love this game's soundtrack and put it in for our final boss? And Sega just signed off and were like, yeah, sure, no problem.
Yeah,
I think it was like Space Force 5 or something like that. But no, really good final track.
But I also did appreciate that I can appreciate that if you are someone younger or have more skill issues than I do with certain aspects of the platforming, that the final boss isn't set up in a way of like so much of Astro Bot's like, here is this cool mechanic that you get to use for a level or two. And I really appreciated that they found a way to incorporate pretty much anything that you enjoyed about the various mechanics of Astro Bot into the final boss fight in some capacity. Not necessarily that the entire fight would go that way, but it was just a cool nod that you weren't suddenly locked into a particular way that the boss fight had to go down.
Yeah, no, and I think them using a roulette wheel in that final boss fight to determine what power you have to use is really smart, because I watched someone do that final boss fight, and their experience of doing the final boss was slightly different from me, because they got one or two powers that were different from what I had gotten in my run, and that just makes it a pretty neat and cool idea to chuck in there.
Yeah. But anyway, this has been 15 minutes revisiting Astro Bot. Any other final thoughts, final considerations?
I really love this.
I'm jealous.
There's been a lot of debate online about the references being like whether PlayStation deserves a game like this because they don't do a lot of like IP restoration or anything like that, like keeping their IPs fresh. But I think separating Astro Bot from Sony and putting it more towards Team Asobi, and they're like, yeah, no, look at all these old games that we love and think people should be trying out, is a really cool way to handle it. And I was just glad to see all of these old IPs get recognition. It was a joyful game to play and a joyful way to discover some new games I should put in my backlog.
Yeah. And hopefully encourage Sony to actually dust off some of these IPs and drag them kicking and screaming onto the PS5.
They already did as well. This week's PlayStation update, they're like, hey, here's some PS2 classics we're bringing back. One of them is Mr. Mosquito, which is such an odd pull, but it was also in Astro Bot, and when I saw that Mr. Mosquito reference in Astro Bot, I was like, this is such a weird game, a niche game to do. The only reason I know about this is because someone that covers niche games made a YouTube video about it 5 years ago, maybe even longer than that.
I see.
And now here we are, it's coming back on PSN, and it's got some questionable levels in that game. I'm not going to elaborate further than that. But okay, Sony, that's the one you want to bring back. Sure, go ahead.
Cool. Well, I guess we can leave it there. Yeah, I don't really have anything to add to that.
People have been comparing this game to Mario Odyssey. Thoughts, opinions, concerns?
I put it less towards Mario Odyssey and more towards like expected to be more like Mario Galaxy. So some of the power-ups are just straight up from Mario Galaxy.
I haven't played Mario Galaxy to be able to make that comparison properly. This goes back to what I said previously, but just my personal preference is that I appreciate level design like what Odyssey did generally a bit more, just because it was really cool when everyone was playing Odyssey and you would discuss, I got this star, and then someone would be like, well, where was that star? I didn't realize that you could get a star that way. Whereas because Astro Bot, pretty much all the levels are very linear, it's really hard to have a different gameplay experience to anyone else going through the same level. So I can see the comparisons. I like aspects of Astro Bot more because I'm more of a Sony, I grew up with more Sony consoles than I did Nintendo consoles, that I don't even know what a Nintendo version of Astro Bot would look like. There'd be a bajillion IP and I just would not recognize most of it. Super Smash Bros.
Yes.
the Brawl story mode of Super Smash Bros.
Character. Yeah. No, that's
the
Brawl
a good
story
mode. Now that's a fucking story mode.
Yeah, but the level design and the mechanical polish of Odyssey, to me, as my preference for platformers, I think is better than Astro Bot.
Yeah, and that's completely fair, because there is a divide between challenge run platformer and collectathon platformer, and people generally do fall into one or the other camp. I appreciate both equally, so I can go, no, I like these ones equally, and I think that's just because I really liked Crash Bandicoot and then went into I really like Ratchet and Clank and Sly Cooper and Jack and Daxter, and I can appreciate both sides of this coin.
Yeah, I would drag Sly Cooper, specifically 2 and 3 and 4 from the bits that I remember, a little bit out of that because some of the levels are linear, but it's still based kind of hub worldy.
I was putting Sly and Raccoon in with the Jack and Daxter and Ratchet and Clank style of it's a bit more open sort of thing. Actually, Ratchet and Clank is kind of more towards the Crash Bandicoot side now that I think about it.
That's the distinction that I wasn't sure you were going for, because you started with Crash Bandicoot, I can see that. Ratchet and Clank, I can see that. Sly Cooper, I can partially see that one.
Sly Cooper 1 is definitely a Crash Bandicoot-like.
Yes, 100%.
And then 2 and 3 and 4 are nowhere open levels, trying to be stealth platformer, weird hybrid, but they're fun games.
Yeah. And I guess it's funny that you mentioned that you like both equally, because I cannot, gun to my head, tell you how many hours I have in Odyssey. However, I definitely have not 100%ed that game, nor do I think I will in the foreseeable future, whereas I finished
There's too much in Odyssey.
There is, and that's kind of my point, is that I love the idea of you get this emergent gameplay and sort of diverging experiences within it, but at the same time, there is so much that it becomes impossible unless you want to go in for 100%ing it, that a game like Astro Bot is so much easier to stomach of, hey, you finished the game, you can see the pathway between yourself and 100%, and it doesn't involve 24 hours of game guides to help discover the stars you missed on the way past.
Yeah, exactly. The closest you need to a game guide is, where is this Uncharted Easter egg I missed?
Yeah.
Which I almost had to look one up, but then I was like, hold on a second, I found it.
Yeah, no, we probably had the same one. I had that.
It's the very first one where you have to go off the side of a platform and do a block puzzle to open up a gate.
Yeah, okay, I think I was missing 2, because that was definitely one of them, actually. Anyway, the point being, yes, I agree. Yes, I agree. Odyssey mechanically better, but the game is so much bigger that I appreciate how self-contained Astro Bot is, so maybe I'm just a fence sitter and appreciate the merits of both. Who knows? Sue me. Good place to end. Final things from you, Saif?
No, very good place to end. Go buy Astro Bot and enjoy it.
Perfect.
Big recommend as a Christmas game.
Love that the revisit was only 21 minutes. Anyway, let's move on to Steve playing Like a Dragon.
Yay! Yakuza Like a Dragon is the technically the Yakuza 7, but we don't want to talk about the spin-offs or Yakuza 0 or the Kiwamis or anything like that. So it's the 7th game in the Like a Dragon series. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that. I'm not going to bother explaining it.
Okay, cool.
But
Ready to move
the
on?
key difference with,
Yeah, refuses to elaborate, moves on.
yeah. Well, it's just hard because the previous 6 Yakuza games have. Well, I was just about to get into this. Now you're thrown off track.
7 is a
But the
soft
previous 6
reboot.
Yakuza game.
Is that where you were going?
Yeah, 7 is a. You know what? You say it, Seth. You say it.
Okay, sure.
But yeah,
Big
no,
Yakuza fan who's only played 3 of the games here to tell you that Yakuza 7 is a soft reboot
idiot.
because they changed protagonists and they changed the gameplay style.
Yeah. So yeah, you're right. So what they've done is they've the previous 6 Yakuza games, and I think there's been 4 of them I've spoken about on this very show. I previously starred Kazuma Kiryu, which is this kind of big staunch Yakuza gangster guy. He's a man of few words.
He appears in Astro Bot.
Kicks the shit out of it. Yeah, he's in Astro
Highest
Bot.
praise.
He kicks the shit out of everybody he sees, and he always has like the right thing to say at the right moment that like is the right thing. As opposed to Ichiban Kasuga, the star of this show, is a kind of the class clown type of I want to say generic shonen protagonist. Like he's not the brightest tool in the shed, but he's very good at making friends easy, and he's got like a very big heart and all the best intentions. And the parallels between the two of them, it's just as someone that, I played like 6 of the Yakuza games. It makes this game feel so fresh. You don't have everybody talking and then Kiryu saying like 3 sentences and he's like, oh, fuck, that was a cool thing to say. You've got Ichiban that's pretty much like, yeah, I'm doing it for my friends. And all that cheesy stuff like that. And it's just such a good contrast. And when you want to do like a soft reboot, they've done it like fantastically, just in terms of like the general story as well. Whereas Kiryu is like this kind of solo type of guy, and that kind of flows into the gameplay. Ichiban is a friend to all, and that kind of is reflected in the actual gameplay, because what they've done with this is, whereas the previous Yakuza games were brawlers and beat 'em ups, they have made this a party-based, turn-based combat style adventure.
I want to jump in here real quick because I think one of the funniest things to justify this in like a fan headcanon way is that Kiryu is like the very serious, stoic guy, and he takes things seriously. So, of course, his combat system is real-time brawler action that you just beat people down. But Ichiban, he's fucking crazy over Dragon Quest, so he views every fight as if it was in Dragon Quest. So, the world twists to his whim, and it becomes a turn-based game.
Yeah, pretty much. He took the words out of my mouth. And well, essentially, long story short, in the first fucking half an hour of the game, he goes to jail for like 18 years. Then he comes back out and he's like, "Oh man, things have changed so much." And he's like, "Whoa, man, this combat's like a Dragon Quest games," and that kind of flows into the turn-based combat type of thing, and it even turns into like a job-based system, because you got a party of 4, and you get like 3 other members. So technically, you've got a group of 7. And you can't switch out Ichiban because he's a leader, but you can switch out the other 3. So, but it's pretty much party of 4, and like you can choose different jobs for them. And they're like not standard jobs, but they're like bodyguards, hostesses, dealers, as in car dealers. Like
was Breakdancer in 7, or was that introduced in Infinite Wealth?
No. Breakdancer's in there, chef's in there. Dominatrix for the female characters, which is, of course, you gotta be fucking funny like that. And
Dragon Quest has a version of a dominatrix in their party system, so it makes sense.
Do they? Oh, I didn't really. Oh,
yeah. They use like charm-based skills.
Oh yeah, like that's but like the actual, because their
weapons are mostly whips as well.
Yeah, but in Ichiban's mind, they changed their costumes as well, and like the dominatrix costume is. Housemate walks in and like, "Hey Steve, what are you playing?" I'm like, no, that's actually what it's supposed to do. And he's like, "Yeah."
You played Dragon Quest 11, right?
I did. Are you
forgetting about the bunny costume for Jade?
Yeah, but I think that's just a bit. Yeah, no, you're actually right, but I am forgetting it. I don't think I engaged with that costume a lot. I think I changed it as soon as I could.
Yeah,
very cringe.
You don't have to engage with it, but I also remember the entire story arc revolved around her in that costume, and how weird that story arc was.
Ugh. But anyway, yeah. So the combat system is very different to what it used to be, and that because I remember when this game came out in 2020, a million years ago, and when I heard about this being turn-based, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, that's a very, very big change, and they pull it off. They pull it off hook, line, and sinker. These are people that not only have they played other the game designers are people that have obviously played turn-based RPGs, and they love turn-based RPGs. You've got different elemental type attacks, you got magic attacks, you got stabbing attacks, you got bullet attacks, and all that kind of stuff. So they've put in the work to kind of flesh it out, but they've also implemented like it isn't just my party's on one side, the enemy's on the other, and we kind of jump at each other. It's kind of like I don't want to say real-time turn-based combat, but like let's say the battle contains 8 or 9 people. All those 8 or 9 people are kind of just walking around each other in the arena, kind of just staring each other down. So if you use an attack that pretty much attacks in a straight line, you're going to hit everybody in that straight line. So you can do a bit of like crowd control AoE type of stuff accidentally like that. But then at the same time, if you use an attack and you want to hit the enemy that's like kind of further away and you walk past or run past another enemy, they have like a chance to kind of just be like punch you, and it kind of cancels that attack. And it's like, oh shit. So you've really got to think about the positioning of where you are on the field in relation to everything else. And there probably are other RPGs that do it sometimes, something similar, but this just feels very fresh. Like considering like things like Persona or even the Dragon Quest series itself, like it's kind of a bit more of a strategic element. Like, and you can kind of wait 5 seconds for an enemy to come into range from like to get the splash damage, for lack of a better word. And you can inflict like more damage and do a bit more crowd control with that by just being a bit more patient and knowing where everything is. It does kind of get tedious, especially because you have to watch the animation of the person like running up to who they're going to attack and attacking. So like you can do an attack and it can be like depending on how far they are, it'd be like 2 or 3 second run up. And that doesn't seem like a lot, but there's a lot of combat in this game, and towards the end of it, I'm like, okay, fuck these guys. I'm sick of running. Like, I just want it done. Even to the point where I was like using skills that were like AoE skills, like automatic AoE skills for like a higher MP, just so I have to avoid the whole bullshit of like running around and thinking about like the strategy and all that type of thing. Because I'm like 10 or 15 levels over. I just want to hit things. So I use Ichiban's like calling down a satellite laser skill, and it just fucking obliterates everybody. I'm like, yeah, cool, continue on. But it's still very good. It's just because this game I've played for like 60 hours now, it kind of gets to that point where it's like, all right, I'm kind of sick of it. And especially the combat as well, because especially when you're 10, 15 levels up doing some just generic grunt battles, it does get a bit tedious. Like there is an auto battle function, and you can kind of tweak to how the auto battle goes. Like, are you using skills? Are you not using skills? You're prioritizing healing or attacks or something. And that is pretty good. But there are times that I'm like, I just kind of want this combat to be over. And after 50 hours, 60 hours, everything's going to get tiresome. And that's probably like another big problem I've got with the game. Like towards the end of it, it really encourages you. It's like, hey, there's a boss battle coming up. You got to grind for a bit, big fella. And you're like, nah, I don't need to grind. Fuck you. And then you just get wiped by the boss because he's like 15 levels above. I'm like, fuck, all right. Then you have to grind for a bit. And that kind of encourages you to grind so that you can get more money to upgrade gear and all that kind of stuff. But it just feels like you could get rid of the sewer areas, and that kind of count as like a dungeon type of thing. And then like, well, it kind of is interesting, but like towards the end of it, you're like, all right, I've spent like 2 hours down here. Like I am 5 or 10 levels above, but like I'm not really strategizing anymore. I'm just kind of tired of it, and I just need to push through it so I can get to the next story beat. Because, big surprise, because it's a Yakuza game, the story's actually fucking fantastic. Holy shit. And I'm not sure if it's because Ichiban as a character or because it's a fresh start, they've been able to do different things. Like there's no reoccurring characters. There's like a little bit of context you kind of need from like the previous 6 games. But at the same time, like you don't really need that. Like at the end of the day, it's just kind of little Easter eggs. But this story is like fantastic. And the way they tell it as well.
Just real quick. Does Yakuza 7 have the previous game recaps like all the other numbered Yakuza games did?
Nope, it does not. It doesn't need it though.
Yeah, no, I wasn't expecting it to need it. I was just curious if it did, just in case people wanted that.
Yeah, like I think because like when it came out, it was kind of being pushed to like newer players of the Yakuza franchise. It kind of like there are references to previous events. Like one of your party members is a direct like body double of one of the people in Yakuza 5, I think, or 6 from the Korean Mafia. And that's kind of like, oh, okay, like this is a really big callback. But at the same time, you don't need to know that. That's like an Easter egg. And like there are appearances, like Kiryu does make an appearance, big surprise. Midway through the game, he does play a very, very small role. And it's like, oh, who's this guy? And it's like, if you know the last 6, if you played the last 6, or even if you played one of the last 6, you're like, oh, this guy. But if you don't play it, it's just like, oh, okay, this guy has kind of given me the answers for my test type of thing. Like, cool dude. But it is pretty interesting. But yeah, the story's fantastic. It's kind of, do you guys care if I spoil it? Because it's a fucking weird part.
Oh, I do, so I'll just mute my, take my headphones off for a moment.
You can tell me. I am very unlikely to play this, so hit me with it.
Okay. Well, so the crux of this story is that the main enemy, Masumi Arakawa, he has like a disability because his mum was his dad was like an assassin, and just got kind of, when the mother gave birth to him, they put him in a locker so he would be safe, but he was in the locker for too long in the cold, so he got sick. But it turns out there was a baby in the locker right next to him, so the wrong baby was taken. So it was actually like Arakawa's baby was actually Ichiban. It wasn't the disabled baby. And to kind of think there were 2 babies in like this kind of train station locker things at the same time is just kind of like all right, now you're just pulling it out of your ass, like you're taking the piss here. But that's kind of the really only story thing that I thought was like, okay, that's just not believable. Like as far as I'm good for theatrics. I love the theatrics, but you're not going to sit here and tell me that 2 babies born on the same day are going to be in these station lockers. It's fucking insane. And because they got switched out, their lives are irrevocably changed. Very, very strange. Yeah, so it was just, and when it happened, I'm like, oh, okay. Like you're really stretching for this. But I'll message Seth to come back that I'm over. But yeah, that was kind of weird. I didn't vibe with it.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
It was just, anyway, it doesn't matter. But overall, fantastic. The presentation of the story is good. The graphics are fucking fantastic. And I think, and I saw like a quote of like a Twitter thread, an X thread, that because the Yakuza studio, Ryogogoto Studios, they have been pretty much, they don't reinvent the game or the game scenery. Like every time they make a game, they kind of just change the characters in and out. Whereas this time you're in, instead of, well, you do go to Kamurocho, which is like the setting of the last 6 games. You're in Yokohama. But they've used a bunch of like assets and all that kind of stuff. So that really does kind of make it.
They're still reusing animations from Yakuza 1.
Oh, 100%. And like, I fully respect them for it.
Oh,
like,
even though, like, lets them make a new game every year or every 2 years. I'm completely fine with them reusing ancient stuff if it means their games are coming out at a good pace.
Exactly. Some might say because this is a 50, 60-hour game. Like I literally finished a story last night. Like I did do a bit of some of the side content, and I want to 100% this game, and apparently it might take me 120 hours to do that, but whatever. Surely not. But because like the cutscenes go for like a significant amount of time, that's like a lot of length for the game. So I'm not sure if like every 2 or 3 years, like the sequel, the game that came after this, the Yakuza. Oh, I'm sorry, it's Like a Dragon Gaiden, I think. The Kiryu sort of side story type of thing that came out like last year, and then they had Yakuza 8 at the start of this year. And then they had that Samurai spin-off in 2022, I believe.
Yeah, that one's kind of a weird one though, because that's a remake of something they already did 10 years ago.
Oh yeah, very, very true, very true. But yeah, what I'm trying to say here is it might be a bit too much. But maybe because I play these games because I'm trying to fucking catch up with them. I play like one every 6 months because I'm trying to catch up. And I'm getting there. I've only got a couple more. It kind of feels like it's, I could see people being burnt out with these new releases, especially if you're buying the one release. But I got this on Game Pass, so I'm not paying money for this. But the side content is very good. There's mahjong, there's shogi, there's go-karting. Go-karting is new. Dragon Kart, I think it's called. And that kind of is actually better than what you think it is. Like, it's very essentially Mario Kart, but that's still very, very fun. There's this weird business mini game where you like kind of business simulation. That's kind of fun for about 20 minutes. And then you realize that, oh, look, I can break the game and get a shit ton of money doing this. I'm going to do this. And it's really good. It's fun. I really like it. I think you can do karaoke as well. I haven't seen it, but usually can. It's a fantastic game. Like, and even like the enemy classes as well. There are like enemies wearing trash bags and they pretend to be like mimics. There's like biker dudes. There's the classic Yakuza in a diaper type of thing. It is very, very full of life. It's got character. It's a game that like isn't taking itself seriously for most of the time. And then you'll have a really intense story beat. And it's like, whoa, that was intense. And it's like, okay, cool. Let's go play go-karting. Like it doesn't take itself seriously. And I really, really like that. I'm fanboying over this game, but it's so good. Like the class system for all the characters, as I sort of touched on, really works well to the point where like certain classes are better than other classes at some things, but there's no one singular bad class. It does that thing where if you level up either your job or your level, it like restores all your like health and mana. And I think that's probably one of the best features of all fucking time because I hate leveling up and it's like, no, you don't really get anything for it. So good. I could talk about this game for fucking ever. I'm not going to, but I could. But the final cherry on the cake, and Saif, close your ears because you're going to say a couple of colourful words to me for saying this. It's got an English dub, and I really appreciate it. The English dub is done fucking... It is done fantastically.
Oh yeah, no, the English dub is actually very good, but Yakuza is one of those series where it's been in it hasn't had a dub for so long that it's just kind of cemented itself as, no, this is something I play as subs only.
Yeah, and I fully appreciate that. Like, it's all the ones that I played so far were dubs, and subs, and it was good. Like, I didn't mind it, but maybe this is just because, maybe just like it's my ADHD rattled brain. It kind of feels that with the sub one, especially for the longer cutscenes, I don't engage with it. But with the dub, I can kind of, not that I wasn't getting the passion before, I can kind of more, maybe I'm just more of a, I don't know, maybe I just notice more of like the tone and the inflections and what's going on a bit better, and I can follow the story a bit more. I don't have to read everything. I can kind of just like listen to it as well as watch what's going on instead of just reading the subtitles. But I think it's fantastic. Like, you've got like George Takei is one of the voices. I think it's great. It's so good. The only character that probably
the only thing I'd want to do
really
for the dubs is specifically for when do you know the big actor that's in Like a Dragon 8?
No.
Do you care if I say? Because he was just shown in marketing material.
Say it. I'm gonna forget it.
Okay,
anyway.
so yeah, they got Machete into Infinite Wealth, and
Machete. Who's that?
I forget the actor's name.
It's not Danny Trejo.
Danny Trejo.
Yes.
Danny Trejo.
Yeah. I was thinking,
Danny Trejo. Oh, they got him in it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, they got Danny Trejo into Infinite Wealth, and the only thing I'd to consider an English dub for is like finding a mod where I can play the entire game in Japanese, but Danny Trejo's lines are all in English.
Yeah, that'd be pretty good. But they did it. They did it fantastically. The dub is very, very good. Like, the voice acting is good. Like, even there's like a scene where a bunch of characters are crying, and it's like it actually sounds like they're at the very least like tearing up. It's fucking fantastic. I can't talk about this game anymore. I'll be here forever. But this is fucking it's so good. Like, the only downside is like the grinding and towards the end, and I think that's fucking atrocious because grinding is the tool of the devil. But at the same time, it doesn't last very long, and you can kind of, because it's got all the job classes that you can change and stuff, you can kind of just change class and then come back, and it can kind of feel like it's fresh, but the grind is still a grind. And I'm not a big fan of that. And it also has like, it's like the random battle encounters as well. Like you'll have like they're not really random because there'll be people on the street and you can see their enemies, and when you run into them, like battle ensures. But like it's very like all right, oh fuck these guys. You try to walk around them or go the long way. It's like I don't want to go the long way. But yeah, that's a very small minor complaint. The game overall is fantastic. Ooh, so good. So good. Seth, you got to go play it.
I will, but I'm playing the entire series.
You don't need to play the other ones. You do not need to play the other ones.
I don't care if I don't have to play the other ones. I am going to.
Start with this one.
No. Yakuza 1 on PS2.
Nope. Yakuza Kiwami. You can do that one.
No.
I think Yakuza on the PS2 had an English dub. Yeah, because
Mark Hamill is Majima in it.
Majima, yeah. Yeah, very strange. And it's like one of those things that apparently gets asked about it all the time. And he's like, I don't know who that is.
Yeah, Kiryu's English voice actor in Yakuza 7 is also returning from Yakuza 1. But then they replace him in in the other games, really? Which is really weird.
Interesting. Oh, okay. I didn't really like the Kiryu voice actor. But anyway, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Fantastic game. 9 out of 10. And maybe I haven't. I'm not even like I'm 60 hours into this game and I'm not burnt out yet, which is fucking insane. By the time I get 100% of it, like I will be burnt out. Like if I because Yakuza 8, Infinite Wealth, sorry, Like a Dragon 8, Infinite Wealth isn't on Game Pass and I don't own it yet, so there is no way there is a way for me to play it, could buy it, but I'm not going to. But if like I could very comfortably jump straight into playing Infinite Wealth, because I just want more. I want more, which is a very good sign. 9 out of 10. I don't give 10s, but let that speak for itself.
You know, the amount of times that Steven's done something that's like 9 out of 10 because I don't give 10s is getting very high on this podcast.
At least this one...
What can I say? There's no perfect game.
At least this one was a game that he, from start to finish, talked about how much he enjoyed and wasn't a... So I really enjoyed it, and then just as the review goes on, it's like, actually, it was kind of shit. 5.
Yeah, no, I do that. Yeah. Got a complaint in from Superfan Dan about Lost in Random. About like, yeah, man, you didn't talk a single good thing about that game. Fuck you. But maybe it was a good game. I did, whatever. No, but Yakuza Like a Dragon. Oh, so good.
Cool. Glad to hear it. Going from something that was so good to something that was so much better, Borderlands movie.
Oh, we're hitting this now? Yeah, sure. Borderlands movie. Great. Yeah. Absolutely fantastic.
Way to hit me with that trauma response right off rip.
Yeah, no, so how I got this. A little like a week ago.
Yep, that's me.
A week ago, Superfan and Girlfriend of the Year, Trin, sent on Discord, hey, look, the entire Borderlands movie is just on YouTube and no one gives a fuck right now. I'm like, you know what? Just in case this goes down, I'm going to put this through a YouTube downloader and get a copy on my hard drive. So I didn't even have to track down a torrent. I just downloaded it off YouTube. And then like 2 days later, it was taken down.
Wow.
So that was a fun way to get that movie. And I think that was like the perfect way to get that movie because it didn't deserve anything better. You'll probably go online.
Tell us what you really feel.
You'll probably go online and see a lot of people like absolutely trash on this movie. I'm not going to do that because this movie was just kind of content sludge, like Hollywood sludge. I wish it was worse because in that way something would have latched onto my brain. But no, there was just nothing here. The story wasn't interesting. The acting wasn't interesting. The CG was pretty bad in a lot of spots. Like noticeably bad green screen effects were happening throughout a few shots of the movie. And there was no like one scene that can latch onto me that's like, oh yeah, no, this is at least really bad. I find it funny or really good. Like at least with Morbius, there's the scene of Matt Smith dancing while getting dressed while Have Sex is playing in the background. And I'm like, that's a really funny thing to do in this movie.
No, it's not. Borderlands. It's only funny because nothing else of that movie is of note.
Yeah, that's what I mean. There's at least that one thing in Morbius that's like, yeah, no, I think this is funny because nothing else in this movie matches this tone. This is really weird to be in here. Borderlands has nothing like that. It's just run-of-the-mill bad movie throughout. Any questions?
Sad.
I wish I had some, but that sums up everything that I've heard people say about this movie. Of like, this is one of the few movies that people have said don't watch it because it's not bad enough to be memorable. It's just 2 hours of your life you wish you like did something else for.
Yeah, that's kind of exactly it. I I had it playing while I was working, so I was doing something productive while this movie was playing.
Yeah, no, that was
holy shit, man! You were having a bad time on both fronts. You're watching the movie and working. Holy shit!
I enjoy my work.
Someone else has said a similar thing. They said that it's an almost perfect second monitor movie where it's just something on that in no way draws attention to itself.
I think that's like a good summary, but I think that makes a second monitor thing bad because every now and then I want to glance at the second monitor and be like, oh, hey, that's neat. Or or there's some sort of like stimulus audibly that's happening on the second screen.
Me watching like just whatever happens to be on the Netflix recommended page in that time of day on my second monitor. It's like, yes, I got something productive out of this, and that I saw this thing that I otherwise wouldn't have seen.
Yeah, and that's complete opposite of Borderlands. You'd get it recommended, and it's like, oh wow, I just wasted my time watching this.
So my question is, how hard did renowned funny man, loud comedian Kevin Hart carry the film?
Badly. They immediately opened the movie with a short joke for him.
It's fucking bottom tier, man.
Also, yes, Stephen, you mentioned Jack Black earlier. I don't want to say it's Jack Black's fault, but they made Claptrap more annoying in this movie than he is in the games. And I think it's all because of the script and how he was directed to deliver his lines. He is extremely annoying in this movie.
It's like not an intentional annoying. It's just like, all right, man, pick up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I've seen. I'm not going to call it analysis, but I've seen people pointing out a lot of the kind of just why does this film exist things of like. I say this having not seen the film. I do, despite how many people tell me don't watch this film, I do still kind of want to watch this film. I don't know.
Famous Borderlands fan, Pat.
Yeah, exactly. Just give me the season pass.
Yeah, no, I didn't mention I was watching it.
Season pass experience.
I didn't mention in the group chat that I was watching it. I was just kind of hoping that like last week how we matched our cycles and played Astro Bot at the same time. I was hoping this fortnight we'd match our cycles again.
Don't say that.
And watch Borderlands at the same time. Unfortunately, it didn't happen.
Sadly not. But no, a lot of it talked about just the, like, how a story is crafted in terms of, like, a theatrical narrative and how Borderlands just doesn't. It's stuff like, apparently one of the big points is that, like, Tina's trying to get to the vault to open it to get a bunch of weapons, but at the same time, Big Bad is also trying to get to the vault to open it to get a bunch of weapons. And so quite a few people point out, well, what if she just didn't try opening the vault? That it seems like the film would be perfectly content for her to just not be anywhere near the vault, and then none of the story would happen.
They make a point right at the end of the movie that like if Tina didn't do it, then there's a backup plan, but Tina wants to do it anyway because she wants to kill her dad. Which, speaking of, yeah, they give Tina a dad in this movie.
Is it Handsome Jack?
No, it's they decide to make the CEO of Atlas Corporation the main villain.
I believe they called him Unhandsome Steve.
Yeah, that's why it's fiction. You don't know what ever be Unhandsome Steve in the same sentence.
Good retort. I'll give you that one. Yeah, it's.
Thanks, man. It's like a fairly generic movie that they threw a Borderlands skin over. Is how I feel about the movie.
It's like I know that they made that choice with Tiny Tina, but it's I mean a lot of the choices that they made with Borderlands is weird. But like one of the few points of this isn't funny, this is actually just sad, is Tiny Tina's backstory that you find out in Borderlands 2. That is like perfect. Like you don't even have to show anything because you discover this via like audio logs that you're just listening to, and it explains so much of just how she is and things. And here it's like she has a dad. Like, oh, okay, well that's all out the window. And then the big like,
I just did it.
Yeah, what?
No, please, Pat. Sorry, I interrupted.
And the whole big like Lilith is actually the Firehawk. Like everyone that knows anything about any of the Borderlands games goes, well, yeah. And but it's done up as this massive reveal of like, oh my god.
Yeah, they try to play up the reveal of the Firehawk being Lilith as well. Like there's a lot of moments throughout the movie. It's like, oh hey, something weird happened, and it's like as she becomes a Firehawk, they flash back to those scenes and they're like, oh look at this, we were teasing it throughout the movie, weren't we so smart? And it's like, no, you weren't.
They actually do that. That is cringe, man. Like you can't be like, oh no, you can't do flashbacks to intentional. Sorry,
no, I hate that too. That's
but anyway,
cringy.
Yeah, I'm looking on the Borderlands wiki. So the Tales from the Borderlands series, that's Atlas CEO Reese. So it's so I get the feeling this isn't canon.
Yeah, no, the movie isn't canon. They changed canon to make it work as a 2-hour movie. I'll give them props for one thing.
Yuck.
They didn't do a sequel tease.
Oh, huge!
There's no
actually.
post-credit scene either. It's like it goes into credits and it's like, oh, hey, yeah, no, it's a complete movie. They didn't try to tease a sequel because, well, I want to believe that the people on the movie thought that they were going to do a sequel one way or another, but then the movie bombed and they're like, oh, thank God we didn't do that.
No, I was gonna.
The BCU is in trouble.
What's even funnier with the Firehawk tears thing? Because you haven't played Borderlands, have you, Steve?
I have.
You have.
Big fan.
Okay.
1, 2, and 3.
Oh no, you have. No, we have talked about this. There was someone else, but either way,
we
just
have.
It's
showing
just
them.
I haven't played 3 is the one.
That I feel like that was part of it. I feel like there was something else. Anyway, the point being they talk about Lilith being the Firehawk, but then the introductory, maybe like the let's say you're running at 60 FPS, the 61st frame of meeting Lilith in Borderlands 2 is the like splash card, you've met the Firehawk. Like introduced as the Firehawk.
Isn't one of her skill trees in Borderlands 1 being called the Firehawk?
Yep. Well, I haven't played Borderlands 1 in a while. That I don't actually know if that's true, but that wouldn't surprise me.
They're good at that. It's kind of cool.
I also want to call out a thing. I'm sorry I'm giving away so many things about this this fantastic movie you're going to enjoy, Patrick, as it adds so much of Borderlands lore.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
But the movie ends on a similar frame shot of the Firehawk logo as the Borderlands 4 trailer starts on. They wanted that visual connection between the movie and the announcement of Borderlands 4, and it's like, oh, you were really banking on this movie doing well, weren't you?
And I love with that too that Ava, being possibly one of the most hated people, and certainly in Borderlands 3, possibly in all of Borderlands, is kind of the only siren protagonist that they have left from Borderlands 4 that everyone's like, oh, can we just retcon this one? Can we try again?
Yeah, that's right. Literally the worst character of all characters.
Ava's like, you know what? I'm not going to listen to you. I'm going to kill beloved community favorite Maya for no reason.
Oh no, it went wrong, and oh no, my teacher had to sacrifice herself. Oh man, what a bitch! God, I hate that.
Yeah. And then because it was so on the nose when it first happened, I'm like, oh yeah, no, she's gonna come back. And then I finished the game, and it's like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, no, where's the after credits scene? Like after they finished playing the game, yeah.
The other thing that's worth pointing out. So I'm sure we're all familiar with the Last of Us, the TV series. Yes.
I'm aware of its existence.
I have watched it and had words about it.
I need to watch that, actually. I'm watching Shogun at the moment. Great show.
Some words here, even. So one of the creative heads of that is a guy called Craig Mazin, who initially, actually, I don't want to say initially, but a lot of people knew him from his work as the showrunner of the Chernobyl series, the HBO series, which was also very, very good. Highly recommend people go and watch. He initially did the screenplay for Borderlands, the film. And this was, depending on, because a lot of it is conjecture and rumor and stuff, but he started this back in 14, 15-ish, complete, somewhere around there. Like after like Borderlands 2 was popular enough, they were like, yeah, let's make a movie. And so he was one of the initial people to jump on doing the screenplay for it. And
yeah, and apparently his screenplay was so good, that's what convinced all of these big-time Hollywood stars to be involved with it.
Not sure how much of that part of it's true, because I heard that it went into limbo for like years and then got sort of dusted off, and then they decided, okay, let's actually turn it into stuff. But there were so many little creative tweaks and things that everyone that wasn't him involved with the film wanted to make, that it changed the screenplay so fundamentally that he ended up asking to have his name removed from the screenplay, and he just walked away. He wanted nothing else to do with it. And what was even funnier is that he, when the film came out, basically turned his Twitter, like his no one knows what Twitter is anyway. One of probably his X account.
You have to use the full name, twitter.com.
Anyway, he basically started just shitting on the film when the film was out, until people pointed out that one of the screenwriters has like an alias which traces back to him, and that was the compromise of him trying to scrub his name from it. So the whole thing is just a collective dumpster fire. but yeah, man. And then also in the aftermath with things like Borderlands 4 being announced, people like, oh man, I'm so excited I'm so excited for all of the characters I know and love to be played by 80-year-olds.
Yeah, the general vibe that we had when the movie was announced and we were seeing old trailers going, everyone is incredibly miscast. That still plays through the entire movie.
Yeah. Anyway, I will still endeavor to second monitor this film one way or another. I'm surprised that it hasn't made it to streaming platforms yet, because that was always the either rumor or open secret.
I believe it's available digitally, but might not be on streaming platforms.
Yeah, okay. That it was doing so poorly that people were thinking even end of certainly end of August that we'd see it on some streaming platform. Anyway, I don't really have much more to dump on Borderlands with. Anyone else got any ammo left?
No, I think I'm done. I'm surprised we went this long as it is.
I don't know if we'd ever see Craig Mazin's initial screenplay, but I would be curious. This is me with the same post-mortem lens as Gollum and Starfield and all the other ones, where the people come out and they were like, man, you know what? It didn't hit the mark because it's not the game that we wanted to make. It's like, well, what the fuck was the game that you wanted to make? What the fuck was the screenplay that got twisted into what we got? I want to see the original untainted material. But anyway, not sure if we ever will. Borderlands 2, still an excellent game. Every so often, they had the 12 year, 13 year, 12 year, I think, anniversary for it in the last month or so. So gave a bunch of keys away. Even just booting the game, the nostalgia of just sitting on the main screen, like the main screen theme, the graphics, like it just hits, man. It's so good.
Even like the click sounds when you're going through the menu, so good.
I do want to throw one more thing in there, and that's... Of
course you do. Is it a grenade?
It's a quick one. I'm very surprised that Randy Pitchford didn't find a way to throw himself into the movie.
Actually, yeah, I was going to ask about that. Yeah, I'm sure he had a finger somewhere.
Yeah, he was around the movie cast and things getting filmed, because he's got videos up of him like making short jokes at Kevin Hart at his trailer.
Oh my god.
And yeah, so he was around the movie set. I'm just surprised he didn't somehow insert himself into the movie, unless I just missed him in that 2 hours, or maybe he was some psycho in the scenes that had them.
Yeah, was he the psycho that just looked exactly like Randy Pitchford?
They were all bald and wearing masks or had clothes on that covered them enough that I wouldn't be able to tell if one of them was him.
Anyway, we're leaving it there?
Yeah, let's leave it there.
You want to try giving it a rating out of 10?
I'd say like a 4. Any lower than that and it starts rolling into it's so bad it's good territory, and a 5 is like acceptable, so 4 is like that ground of like, this was just here and I was bored watching it.
We're giving it an IGN 7? That's what I'm hearing?
No, it is more like an IGN 6.5.
Ooh, gotcha. Shall we move on?
Yeah, I think we're good to move on.
Then move on we shall. And moving on to part 2 for this week, which is of course the news. Starting off with an absolute banger. Once again, the podcast news section is saved thanks to the Powerpuff Girls being introduced to multiverses. So my question, can we get an Ice Climbers wobble type situation going with the Powerpuff Girls?
Yes, and then they'll be banned.
Sorry?
Would be funny though.
Is this a Smash law I don't know?
Probably.
Absolutely. So there was a thing in Super Smash Bros. Melee where the Ice Climbers could just chain grabs together so you could never escape them. And that was called wobbling.
I thought it was called asking, because I didn't do that.
This is what I get for trying to help Steven. Never again.
Thank you. I'm now on the wobbling Super Smash Bros. Wiki page. Thank you. But anyway, Powerpuff Girls, how are they doing these days? Are they still alive?
I genuinely have no idea.
I'm holding back from making a bad joke.
They rebooted Powerpuff recently, didn't they? Like recently, like in the last 2 years, 3 years?
Tried like the last maybe 7?
I swear we've covered something while this show's been running where we said Powerpuff Girls are making a comeback, but they're like changing up the format or something.
No, I think that was way before we were doing the podcast.
Wow. Okay. Time is a blur. Anyway, yeah, it'll be interesting to see if I for one can't believe that with Powerpuff Girls being 3 characters all controllable as one, that will add 2 more players to the one-person playing multiverses now that it's been re-released.
That's cheating. We don't count Ice Climbers as 2 players. Or Duck Hunters 3 players.
Maybe... Or is Pokemon Trainers 3 separate characters?
Not Pikmin. Help me out. The one that controls the Pikmin.
Olimar.
Man, it's been so long. Olimar counting as like anywhere between 0 and 7 characters.
Yeah. Good times.
Anything else to add to that? It's basically just to say that Powerpuff Girls are coming out. They're a playable character. It's part of DLC Season 3. And it'll be September 17, which means that by the time you're listening to this, it'll be available.
Yeah, got nothing else to add.
Are we getting back into multi-voices?
This isn't going to pull me back in. Although I do think it's pretty neat that they made a skin for them be the Rowdy Rough Boys.
True. Yeah, that is cool.
Really? Okay, no, I'm back in.
Would be really funny if one of the skins was just Ice Climbers, and then, like, I don't know, like the texture missing or something for the third one.
Just invisible, so it fucks with people.
Not invisible. The purple and black squares to say that the texture didn't load properly.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Counterpoint. What if it was a PNG grid?
What if it was just a square and the square just said bottom text?
Okay, I like that one.
Cool. Well, in that case, we shall move on. We're moving on right along to a potential oopsie, perhaps hinting that Shin Megami Tensei has an HD collection planned. Can someone that actually plays Shin Megami Tensei tell me which part of this title is like relevant to people?
Devil Summoner Raido Kuzunoha.
I don't know.
This was a subset.
All the title? What the fuck is
literally,
that?
Yeah.
Gobbledygook.
Shin Megami Tensei is the massive franchise.
Yeah, it's the franchise. Yeah, I get that. But
Devil
like,
Summoner is like the sub-franchise, and then Raido Kuzunoha is this particular series.
Holy shit. Okay, well, it might be getting an HD collection. Have fun.
Yeah, the Raido games were games that were out on the PS2, and people have been asking for these to be made as a HD collection for a while. It seems like it's going to happen because Atlas accidentally changed the achievements on Steam for I think it was SMT3. They accidentally changed all of those achievements to be like Raido Kuzunoha specific events that would trigger achievements.
I see.
Which is a weird way to do achievements. Very weird way to do achievements.
Yeah, it was like, I think they were putting it into the Steam DB, like Steam database for when this gets shadow dropped or shadow announced. But then they accidentally updated Shin Megami Tensei 3's achievements instead of inputting new ones for Raido. But yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
neat that it's happening. Weird way we found out about it.
I really have nothing to add to this, so I'm just going to move on. Naruto coming to iOS and Android September 25th. Ultimate Ninja Storm. Is this something that you guys have played?
Yeah,
this game came out for the PS3 40 million years ago. People's phones are going to blow up trying to even think about launching this game.
It's very interesting seeing that we're at a point where they're like, yeah, this PS3 game is just going to be on mobiles now. But yeah, I think my phone's just going to catch fire. But that's because it's a Samsung. It doesn't have to do with this game.
Yeah, that's just the battery.
That was a wild time when that was happening.
But yeah, the bigger news for this is that this is part of Naruto's 25th anniversary celebration. So we're probably going to get like a year-long list of things like this happening.
Shinobi Strikers finally being ported to the iPad.
No one's going to play Shinobi Strikers no matter what you do with it.
Sure, one person might enjoy it.
Is that one person you? Is Shinobi Strikers your Dragon Ball the Breakers?
No, it's dog shit. I hate that fucking game. I don't know what I expected, and 10 minutes into it, I knew that game was no bueno. But we'll get them next time.
Right. We're going to move on. Don't know what to do with that info. Shout out Dragon Ball The Breakers, though. Dragon's Dogma 2 has introduced a casual mode. Beer and update.
Not funny.
Very funny.
Didn't laugh.
I wrote lol and ruffle in the text chat.
Yeah, and then because I didn't see it, you then wrote them onto like hand parchment and then gave it to a courier, and that courier delivered it via pigeon to my house, and then I read it, and then I did lol, and then I did ruffle. Can we move on?
From the bit,
yeah,
yes.
no, I'm
From the article, not yet.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at because I haven't played Dragon's Dogma 2. I really need to though. Yeah, just the casual mode is pretty much just reduced price for everything, reduced damage for everything that you do, increased damage for everything you do, reduced damage from everything that you do. Yeah.
And pawns
Low
won't get
cost
Dragon's
fast
Plague, which is a
traveling.
massive feature of the game. They just removed the ability for your pawns to come back from someone else's world with the dragon aids and kill everyone in town.
Dragon aids.
Fair
The
enough.
other
It's
thing
like
that
that,
they're
though.
doing that I think is worth highlighting is that they're adding a port crystal to Back Patal. When I talked about Dragon's Dogma 2, I mentioned how there's two major cities in this game, and only one of them has a port crystal. Back Patal is like at the bottom of the map and doesn't have a port crystal, which is just your fast travel points, like the world specific fast travel points. So you have to use one of your limited place down a marker fast travel items to teleport to that city easily. And now this just removes the need to do that. It's just a good quality of life change.
Cool. Sweet. I mean, there's an entire bloody like balance patch of changes that you can read through on the article, but yeah,
It is a massive overhaul.
pretty cool that they put that in.
Yeah, nice to see that they're still trying to fix the game this far out.
Well, there's always going to be bugs, I guess. You only do your best.
Hopefully this is like leading into them going, yeah, we're going to do like a bit of Black Isle style DLC for the game.
How long has this game been out? Like only 6 months? Has it been a year already? Fucking hell, time
It came
flies.
out March, so yeah, like 6 months.
Okay, yeah, right on. Dragon's Dogma Hawk Tour. I reckon that's the DLC.
I
Alright, nah.
suspect that's
The one chance I had and I blew it.
not
Just like the Hawk Tour girl. Oh man, he's done it.
God.
He brought it back. Oh my god.
From the brink. Question is, can you make a joke out of Rivals of Aether too?
I don't know what that is.
It's you literally made up. You know what? Fuck it would take longer to explain this to you. Rivals
Two
of-
rivals, two Aether.
Do you think Alpha Red's going to push this game? He massively pushed the first Rivals of Aether.
He did. I'm sure he will play it. I don't know if he'll push it that crazily. Depends on how it comes out, I guess. But I believe this is the one that Pirate Software's working on with Ludwig in terms of the publishing side.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, we've talked about the game a little bit before. It looks really cool. They've just dropped that they have an official release date now, which is going to be October 23rd.
Yeah, just in time for Halloween. And there's a beta weekend coming up for all you betas out there. Looking at you, Steve. 27th to 29th.
Not
of
funny,
September.
didn't laugh.
I thought the playtest was already going on, and I missed out. So I'm actually going to go to Steam and apply for that right now.
Imagine. I don't wish this on any game, but imagine the beta weekend does a Concord.
Oh, that would be so bad.
Oh, it would. Absolutely tragic. We'll get to that, but moving on, unless there was anything else that people wanted to talk about for Rivals of Aether, yay, nay?
No, just interested in this. Hopefully it's priced appropriately, and I don't... not something where I look at it and go, oh no, you overpriced this, I'm gonna wait.
Well, it's funny that it comes out very, like, you have two major Steam sales. I guess there's technically the Halloween sale as well, but two much more likely it'll get discounted slightly sales before the end of the year for this game. So I would be surprised if it wasn't on sale for at least maybe 10 to 20% off, despite releasing in October between Cyber Monday and Christmas.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. It'll probably have a launch discount, and that lasts for a while.
Speaking of lasting for a while, we have a platform fighting battle royale announced for PC called Bite Breakers. 40 people on a platform fighter. Call it the
this is a
Royal
really
Rumble.
cool idea.
Bite Breakers.
The playtest happened already, so I need to look into it. I just kind of found this as I was going through articles for the news docket today, and I was like, oh wow, this actually looks fairly cool. I'm interested in seeing how this plays out. So now I got to go actually look up impressions and see what people thought of it.
The idea of it is kind of intriguing. I sort of put this as, platform fighting. My main reference point is that Smash Brothers Ultimate with like 8 people on the platform at once is like fucked in terms of trying to keep track
Too
of
many
stuff.
people.
Yeah.
Too many people.
But hey,
It's 4 more people than what you need.
Maybe they tweak it. Who knows? Anyway, first playtest was September 13th, so yeah, would be interesting to see what people thought of it. Any final thoughts? We're going to move on?
Let's move on. Let's just try to burn through these.
Fair enough. Resident Evil 3 coming to GOG on September 25th. We guys move on?
Is this old Resident Evil or new Resident Evil?
Old.
The original Resident
3.
Evils 1, 2, and 3 were all being put on GOG. They've been slowly rolling these out, and RE3 is the last one being added. And just nice that these are being there and being what's the word I'm looking for? I'm actually lost.
I don't know, Saif. What is the word? Oh.
It's gone too long.
Yeah, it's good that these
Do we care
original
about them being
versions of the
preserved
games are being
once
preserved.
again? Okay, I guess we do then. Is there? You know what? Doesn't matter. I don't care about this game. I'm just making conversation. Move on.
Fair enough.
Finally, a good news article after this one.
Dragon Ball. Wait, hang on. Sparkling.
No, Sparking.
Zero. Shit.
We do this every week, Patrick. When are you going to get it?
I swear that there should be an L.
It should be. No, but don't forget it's Dragon Ball Sparking, and it's an exclamation mark, so you got to pause. And it's 0 because it's all in capital letters. So you got to shout it.
But Steve, my buddy, my friend, you activated the trap card of not announcing the fact that there is a colon.
Dragon Ball colon Sparking 0.
We know it's not 0. It's the amount of characters they've got.
Yeah, true. God,
Well, the
I
amount
hope
of characters they announced recently.
I hope that all of the press tours, they have to announce the title exactly like that. Otherwise, people are like, what is this game? This is different to the game that I thought it was.
Is this a new one?
What happened to
And they have to
Budokai
clarify 0
Tenkaichi?
is like... I've noticed that they've like in all their the fucking Twitter posts they make, they mention that it's part of the Budokai Tenkaichi franchise, which I think is very funny that they have to clarify.
Yeah, every trailer
But I
also
thank them for
begins with Budokai Tenkaichi returns.
Gotta remember everyone, don't you?
Well, speaking of remembering everyone,
but yeah,
they've announced 28 playable characters, and there's a big
A
list
little
of
more
the
than that
ones.
since the last time we talked about it, because they also announced all the GT characters, which was like 10 slots?
Sorry,
Maybe a little bit more.
This is your story.
What I meant to say is that they've announced the final 28 playable characters with a grand roster total of 181. Or 182,
Yeah, so the
including
interesting-
Goku Mini, which, holy shit. And then another 20 being added through Season Pass, but I don't know if that's part of the 180 or not, but like,
No,
what the hell?
the other 20 is an additional 20, so it'll be 202 by the end of the first season pass.
Good lord.
But don't forget,
Just
it's
all
like
fucking Gokus.
30 of these characters are just
Half this roster
variations
is
of
Gokus.
Goku and Vegeta. At
Okay,
least 30
cool.
characters.
30 of them are variations. Nice. That's still 150 playable characters.
And 10 of them are Gohans. You got 5 Trunkses.
There's
the
2 Super
13
Saiyan
Boos.
Gogetas.
I hate how they did the fucking... Okay, so like for those not in the know, they did like Gogeta from Dragon Ball Super, and then they did Super Gogeta from the Janemba movie. just to make it more confusing. And I don't know what they
Because Z,
I don't know
Goku,
why they did it like that.
and Z, Vegeta, and need to be able to fuse into Gogeta.
But I don't know why they have to like differentiate it. Like Gogeta's Gogeta.
I mean, so is Goku and Goku, but there's like
let's not do this, man.
there's
I don't
like
fucking care.
three
I don't fucking
Gokus
care, man.
just for Dragon Ball Z.
2 Goku, 2 Furious.
Like 7.
Hawk to a Goku.
It's Goku 7. Wait, was it Fast 7 or was Fast something else where they removed the and Furious and just replace it with a number?
Yeah, Fast 7. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Goku 7.
It doesn't matter. But I will admit, so when they said they were going to do the reveal, what they did is they filled in the extra 10 slots with the GT characters, and they announced like the movie characters, and they put the movie characters around the outside, so it looked like they were essentially giving us an extra like 10 characters.
Yeah, like
which is fantastic.
The lead up to the game's launch, they've ended every trailer with filling out the character select screen, and yeah, it's like everyone's been going for the last little bit of like, oh, there's only 20 slots left. Oh, there's only 10 slots left. Who are they going to fill it up with? And people were making all these predictions.
Sorry, Hangover from Smash Brothers.
Yeah, no, it is Fire Emblem. The Fire Emblem's in the season pass.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, look, there's only 3 slots left, and the final character we're announcing is Broly from Dragon, like the Z Broly, and he has 3 forms, so he's going to take up all 3 slots. And then like, actually, never mind, all of the main movie villains are here. That's an additional 10 characters or something like that. Very funny way to just mislead marketing for like 6 months straight.
Would be funny if they were like, and Minecraft Steve makes it in.
At this point, why not?
Guest character. It'd be Jack Black.
Yeah, it would be Jack Black in a blue shirt.
Yeah.
Like, photorealistic Jack Black.
Android 13 and Super Android 13 made it in. We made it. Fantastic. But yeah, very excited for this game. It comes out like October 10th or something. 11th is a couple weeks away. 11th, okay. Will this be a day one purchase for Steven?
It's a day one purchase for me. I've already got it pre-ordered.
I thought we didn't pre-order games anymore, big dog.
I never said that. You said that about yourself.
I know, I'm saying that all the time. Maybe you shouldn't pre-order games, but whatever.
I pre-order all the time from Amazon because it's cheaper than buying it on PSN.
But it's not. It's. You could wait like 2 months and it'd be half price. Whatever, it doesn't matter. You do you, man. You do you.
I will do me. But
okay,
they got fucking Hirudegan and Tapion in this game. They're based.
Based on what?
Yeah, they got both.
Based on Dragon Ball Z.
Based on the Dragon Ball movies. Jinx.
Cool. Well, hopefully people are excited for that. We are going to move on. As much as the excitement is for that, hopefully there is just as much excitement for the possible final chapter in the Star Wars Jedi series, currently in development at Respawn Entertainment.
I still need to play the second one. I'm concerned about the third one because the director of these games left to EA.
Ah. Well, you know what they say, when creativity leaves, just fill it with microtransactions.
Yay?
Yay, should be indeed, sir.
Quick, I guess, actually, because this is EA related, it's more, they're going to fill it with AI.
True. Actually, are we going to end up...
Oh, wait, that's way later. Why didn't I stick all the EA stuff together? I'm an idiot.
Yeah, okay, yeah, no, there is EA used. Yeah, we could jump ahead to that if we wanted to just knock out
Yeah, let's just knock out all the EA stuff in one go. Hit Skate next. Let's start with the good news.
Cool. Good news. Skate. Coming in early access of 2025. Very excited.
This game's been in development so long, I'm concerned about it being early access.
That is a good point. Very, very good point, in fact. But I am a massive fan of Skate 3. That was such a fun game on PS3. Okay, cool. Thought it was PS3. Still wasn't 100% sure. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see, because I know there have definitely been a few, I don't want to call them Skate clones, because, like, you know, Skate is almost in some ways a clone of Tony Hawk. So, but there have definitely been a few games trying to do what Skate did that have come out since. That it'll be interesting to see Skate coming back to it. My concern is that because we've had some of the other games come out Like I'm thinking of, I think Session was one, which I think was trying to be marketed more as a skate simulator than the more sort of arcadey style of skate. But
Yeah.
do you guys remember when, I think it was SimCity? SimCity took a massive hiatus, and then EA was like, hey guys, we're bringing SimCity back. And meanwhile, everyone had already switched to City Skylines, and then SimCity comes out and everyone goes, this is shit.
Yeah, and they launched it in a very bad state.
They did. So I really want this to do well. I really do, but EA's hurt me before.
I want it to do well. There's just too many red flags at the moment for me. One of them being, it's been like 5 years since you announced it and this is early access. And the second being, they're trying to make it a live service game.
Well, the good news is they didn't call it Skate Kill the Justice League.
They could have.
It'd be such a flex if they did.
Maybe next time. Maybe the second Skate. It'll be Skate, but with a 2 instead of... It'll be Skate Tour. He's done it again.
This is the 4th Skate game, Steven. Your joke's not making any sense.
Skate 4.
Skate for her? I barely know her.
All right, that was a good one.
Anyway, going from the highest of the highest to the lowest of the lows, EA, the company known for making video games, is actually an AI company. Now, this was news to me.
Yeah, it was basically from their big investor day talk meetup sort of thing, where they're just like trying to get business people excited for what's the future of EA. And essentially they're like, yeah, no, so AI is going to be a big driving force for us on how to get our users to do user-generated content in the future. So things like The Sims, and not actually sure what other examples they brought up, but like you'd put in a prompt for The Sims and have AI generate something for you and how you want like houses to look, or making suburbs and things like that.
I think it's like trying to... look, I don't know. We all know it's going to be dog shit, and how they implement it's going to be like terrible. But if I put on my my weird hat, like if I just type in I want a sim that is between the ages of 25 to 29, has average build, average features, it'll generate something. Maybe that's where they're coming from, to kind of be like, oh, if you don't want to do the character creator, you can kind of do this automatically. But at what point are you just not playing the game?
Do you have to wait for them to message you on Bumble first, Steve? Or
what does that mean? What are you implying? Are you bringing my funny messages into the podcast?
Well, I'm trying. It seems like you don't want them to be. That's
I can. No. But now I got to give context. All right. So for extra context, man, we're really going down the Bumble hole here. But I can't remember. So this girl said that she asked me what my favorite book was.
You know what I love about AI? The fact that you get to prompt it with "Who asked."
God, every fucking time you got me.
Yeah, no.
You did.
Sure.
Wait a minute, this is a setup.
Yeah, it is. Self-report. But yeah, so a bunch of AI shit came out of the EA Invest today. Did anyone watch the Cardboard Boxes? I don't know what you'd call it, demo thing?
I did not actually, no.
It's basically two people using AI prompts to generate like a novel multiplayer experience, and I don't know the full context of how much they were doing in real time, how much of it was just like this is like a big what if type thing. Like, I don't know how much of this is like actually anywhere near ready to go, but the concept of it was very much, it reminded me of I think it was PS4 Dreams, was it? Where people were like kind of roadblocks. People, it looked a lot like that, just with kind of like a better version of that. Of you can kind of make what you want using AI. It's kind of like, you know what it was? It was like Dreams combined with something like Scribblenauts. That was kind of how it came across. So like the demo, to be honest, was pretty cool. But it's also the sort of demo that, yeah, the tech is interesting, but beyond the sort of novel uses of it, it doesn't. I guess coming from games like Little Big Planet and Mod Nation Races and other games where it's like you have all the tools to build whatever you want, that it kind of gets boring after a couple hours. Not because you've exhausted all the stuff that you can do, but just because I'm an unimaginative fuck that like unless I have some kind of constraint to work within, I just like lose interest in making stuff for myself.
Yeah, no, I'm exactly the same. Yeah, no, I'm exactly the same.
Getting a little bit off topic, but the point is the cardboard demo was quite cool. Highly recommend you go and watch the video.
Alrighty then. I'm not going to though.
Is that all that we wanted to cover from the EA side?
Just adding an additional note of they're saying that it's going to be the core of their business, and they have about 100 AI projects in the pipeline.
Wonder what these look like. Wonder what the end state Dragon Age of Algard. I'm looking at you.
Yeah, and I guess there isn't a huge amount on, like, I don't imagine they would come out and say this at the Investor Day, but there's still, is the voice actor strike still going on with the
I believe
licensing
so.
AI? Yeah. So that there's still like a bit of an undercurrent
no one's
of that.
reporting on it is the main issue, because they just kind of want to bury it.
Ugh.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I think we can move on from EA. And we're going to move on to, where do we get?
Like a Dragon.
Jumping back.
Yay!
Like a Dragon. Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Could I humbly request the Steven take?
Yeah, no, you can. Fuck yeah. We fucking made it. So this is about one of the side characters, Majima. It seems he's getting his own game. It's about him just getting into dumb shit shenanigans in Hawaii. It's not a turn-based thing. It's back to the action brawler type of thing, which should be it should be very interesting at the very least. Majima's always been pinned to this character that just is crazy for the sake of being crazy. Like the Mad Dog is kind of his nickname. So it'd be very interesting to see like where this game goes, and if they just kind of make it crazy for the sake of being crazy, whether it becomes like a more emotional story or if it's just like a foolish cash grab. But it definitely seemed like, as we were talking before with the Ryu Gagoto studio reusing assets in a good way, like not rebuilding things. No need to reinvent the wheel when you've already got 4 of them on your car. It looks like it'll be taking place in Hawaii and Yokohama.
Yeah, just reuse the Hawaii map from Yakuza 8 because why the fuck not?
Exactly, it's fucking.
And I agree with them. Why not? You made the map, reuse it, do whatever you want with it.
But yeah, it should be good.
I do like that. It's like we've got 2 combat systems. One's called the Mad Dog style, and the other one is the Mad Sea Dog style.
Yeah,
and the Mad Sea Dog style is him swashbuckling using dual cutlasses and guns, flintlocks.
Yeah. Should be good.
Also, fuck
cool.
yeah, they got Samoa Joe in the game. Samoa Joe being one of the best wrestlers at the moment.
Is he actually? I thought it was just his likeness. That doesn't matter. Does not matter.
I mean, even if it's just his likeness, they scanned him into the game.
Oh, okay. No, I'll play on then. But yeah, it should be good. Should be good.
Just one more note I want to add on to this. They said it's not a full-length game like Yakuza 8, but it's not going to be as small as the Kiryu Gaiden game. This is like somewhere in between that.
Longer.
Yeah. So the Gaiden game was like 20 hours long, I think, and Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth is like 120. So I'm gonna peg this as being maybe somewhere between 30 to 50.
So here we go.
Sweet. Well, next up, we have what I absolutely love as a reason for doing something, the love of the game. And this is referring to Crafton Chief purchasing Tengu Gameworks, even though he doesn't think Hi-Fi Rush 2 would, make them much money. Yeah, it's... I think I'm broadly in... Like, it's sort of like a weird comment of like, yeah, it probably won't make us money, but we wanted to do it anyway. Like, that side of it's cool, but then at the same time, yeah, I don't know.
I like it because it's like, yeah, no, we know this isn't going to be like a massive moneymaker for us because like, yeah, PUBG rakes in money for them. I think they have a few other games that are like very big live servicey style games, but then they're like, yeah, no, so we can afford having something like Hi-Fi Rush where it's not going to make us a ton of money, but it's going to make people happy. It's going to expand our portfolio. So we're okay eating costs just to have like these sort of games come out. And I think that's a good mindset to have.
Yeah, that mindset's good. And you're right. I keep forgetting that the people that bought it are the PUBG people. But what I wouldn't want to have happen, for example, is one company buys another company and says, yeah, no, we know it probably won't make much money. And then one thing leads to another, and then you're either embracing the group that you just bought, or alternatively, you end up inadvertently fucking over your current, like your own, like core developers if something were to go wrong. But no, you're right. PUBG making money hand over fist definitely makes it easier to justify this sort of example.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it was a bit of a weird statement. Most headlines make it look worse than it actually is. But no, if you read like the entire quote in the articles, it's like, yeah, no, we can take the hit on this because we want to support Tango and let them continue their creative endeavors. And even if it's not like the biggest money maker, we support their vision.
Indeed.
Microsoft will buy them, don't worry.
Yeah, buy them and shut them down again. Fuck, that would be funny.
Buy them right after they sold off the rights for Hi-Fi Rush because they're like, yeah, no, we're not going to use this.
Microsoft is just like, Phil Spencer just rises from, wait, is it Phil Spencer retiring or was it Rim Giant?
Rim Giant retired.
Rim Giant retired. Phil Spencer just stares down the end of his nose at Tango Gameworks and goes, fuck, we didn't do the job properly the first time. Does we the missed. Second Thanos snap.
A second shutdown has hit the Tango Gameworks.
We shot them, but the bullet got lodged in their shoulder bone.
Anyway, next up we have Flappy Bird making a return. Now, this one, I'm not sure what to think, because I saw some reports that this was basically a fake scam crypto rug pull type thing, but I don't know if this was this, or if this was someone else trying to capitalize on this news, because, fuck, there's all sorts of shit on the internet these days.
No, yeah, it was the first one, so it was like, yay, Flappy Bird is back, and then it came out that, like, they put out, like, this big message that it sounded like the original creator was like, yeah, no, it's been 10 years, I've had a lot of things, I've thought about a lot of things, and I feel like I'm ready to bring it back, sort of thing. And then the people looked into it, and it's like, actually, no, the original creator has nothing to do with this. The rights to Flappy Bird's license, got revoked because they didn't renew it, and some NFT company just wrangled the rights as soon as they could and put this out. And it's apparently going to be, like, tied to some Web3 website, and then you look at the trailer and it's got all these different types of birds in it. It's like, oh, are these supposed to be NFT style birds? Very weird. Okay, I see some tweets here. It's like, we're building the ultimate experience for Flappy Bird players. The beloved core gameplay remains the same, but now you'll have the option to use Web3 features. No Web3 wallet connection required to play the game, and the game will never have NFTs. And the other tweet doesn't look like it's going to be worth mentioning, but it's got some weird stink tied to it. That's all I'll say about it.
Yeah.
Look, are we really surprised that an internet viral sensation from like 12 years ago is coming back and it's actually really shit?
I'm surprised by the way, not the way the announcement went, of like them pretending that the creator was like, had this epiphany of like, I should bring it back, and it's actually like, no, the creator has nothing to do with this. That's a real scumbag tactic to do.
It's the same energy as, wasn't there like a Stanley Marvel NFT collection? Something. Came out in the wake of his death a few years ago.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Anyway, grift is going to grift, is I guess all I'll say.
Yeah, I'd stay away from it.
Yeah.
it's Flappy
Any
Bird.
final Flappy Bird?
No.
Chat? Yay? Nay? No?
All done.
All done. Sweet. Well, speaking of things being all done, it seems like Annapurna Interactive is all done because of the mass resignation due to the spin-off negotiations failing. This one's just like I want to say like a weird situation.
Honestly, kind of based.
Oh no, I'm massively in support of like actually getting everyone together and just being like, nah, fuck it, we ball, and then just everyone resigning at once. I just mean it's a weird situation. I just mean that it's weird that we got to this point.
That's true. Power to them though. Literally, the revolution is coming. And I guess it starts with Annapurna Studios. Power to them is doing it. Do we have like? Because this happened last week. It's like, been a couple of days. Do you know what happened?
I haven't seen any updates since.
No, I haven't either. Basically, both parties failed to reach an agreement on spinning off. It was some piece of Annapurna Interactive, I think.
Just Annapurna Interactive as a whole, like the publishing side of the company, they wanted to be spun off so that they didn't have the Annapurna films and other aspects of the company associated with them.
Right. Yes. Yep. And they failed to reach an agreement, and so employees were like, all right, and then left. Which, yeah, very based.
The only non-based part of this is like all the indie developers that have been kind of left high and dry with their talking points with Annapurna. Or for the Annapurna employees themselves, it's like, yeah, no, if you weren't going to reach an agreement and this was something that you really believed in, then yeah, this is like the best course of action. Just fuck off and make your own studio with blackjack and hookers.
I will also add that they specifically point out, like, hey, things currently in flight shouldn't be affected. So I assume they would say that regardless, but we'll have to see whether or not that's actually the case. But yeah, you're right. The devs getting caught in the crossfire would just suck. But see what happens. Cool. We get to move on to where are we? Capcom
Nintendo
news.
suing Power World.
What? Capcom news, surely.
Yeah.
Oh wait, I forgot to pull this up, and I'm the one that put it in here.
Jamie, pull this up. And by Jamie, I mean Seth.
Real quick.
It's a Twitter news article. It's not real.
Just real big news from Capcom, but like nothing we have to spend a lot of time on. A lot of their games that were locked to games for Windows Live services like Street Fighter Cross Tekken, Lost Planet 2, Resident Evil, Operation Raccoon City, and a few other games from like that era. They've all. It seems like all of them have been updated to have games for Windows Live removed from them, so you can actually play their online modes now without some weird workarounds. I feel like this is going to have a good knock-on effect and a resurgence for Lost Planet 2 specifically.
Man, anyone actually play Lost Planet 2?
I haven't, but I've heard very, very good things about it.
Same boat.
And it's been something I want to look into, but that whole Games for Windows Live thing was what was holding me back. So the game going on sale for like $10 in a couple of weeks with Game for Windows Live removed. Good time to get into it.
True. Yeah, cool. So a bit of good news in there. Depending on your stance. Speaking of good news, Nintendo and the Pokemon Company have filed a lawsuit against Palworld, and the craziest part is that it's not because so many of the Palworld characters look like Pokemon characters.
It's because of they infringed on their patent rights, which we don't know exactly what they are, but a lot of people are assuming it's because of the whole Pal Sphere mechanic works very similarly to how Pokeballs are.
Yeah, apparently, I don't have the source in front of me, but I saw somewhere that the patent that this has been filed against was only... Wait, hang on, sorry, because I'm going to use the word filed twice. The lawsuit is against a patent but the patent was only filed after Palworld came out, which
that's a
means
weird one
Nintendo
too.
files the patent, gets the patent, and then sues Palworld for infringing on the patent, even though Palworld initially released when the patent didn't exist. Which, holy shit, Nintendo just really hates gamers.
It'd be interesting to see how that plays out, because
Nintendo doesn't hate gamers. They just hate other profitable company.
Oh yeah,
Palworld's been doing so good that Sony got in on the action with like their anime branches teaming up with Pocket Pair to make Palworld anime happen.
True. I completely forgot that they announced that. Man, has Palworld felled off? Where are we at with Palworld stats? I don't know anyone still playing it. That's just me. I'm just a sample point of one.
I mean, it had a major update a few months ago, and I don't really know anyone that went back to play it.
Yeah.
It did also have like probably one of the craziest like all-time peaks that anything against that all-time peak is going to look like it's fallen off anyway. So hard to say.
I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, don't get
all-time
Game
peak
Pass
was
as well.
2 million. Its 24-hour peak is 27,000.
Felled off.
That's fucking high, man. fuck off, dead game. You want to see it? Type in a dead game, look for Concord.
Oof.
I will get to that in a second. I just want to
Marine.
also add in, like, since the lawsuit came out, Pocket Pair did a response, and their response is a little weird because they've taken the stance of like, we're going to fight against this, and we're going to be doing it to represent all indie developers fighting against big evil Nintendo. And a lot of indie developers are like, yeah, no, Pocket Pair doesn't speak for us. We don't give a shit. This is your fight.
Pocket Pair known for such bangers as let's just rip off, was it Immortals Phoenix Rising?
Yes. Which was
like,
also a rip-off of Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not saying that it invalidates Palworld fighting back or Pocket Pair fighting back, but it's just it's funny. It's funny on that axis alone.
It's going to be very funny to watch this play out for the next 5 years.
Hey kids, how would you like to play 2 Pokemons?
I need to get back into Palworld. Need to. Do I need to jump into it? Maybe not. I just bought Persona 5. It was on sale, so maybe I'll jump into that instead. It was 60% off. I had to buy it.
And
I thought the rule was 75%.
Yeah, it's an anime game. I'm not getting it any fucking cheaper.
And finally, we have some absolute state of play station because the state of play comes up tomorrow, and so it will be covered on the next episode. But first bit in a little PlayStation roundup, Concord game director, known for such bangers as Concord, leaving Firewalk, and Firewalk itself possibly in danger of shutting down.
Yeah, the game director Ryan Ellis stepped down, and it says he's going to take on a support role, but I doubt that's going to happen. He's a former director for Destiny 2 as well, before founding Firewalk. Other employees have been quoted saying, yeah, he deeply believed in the project and bringing players together, and the game failing was a massive emotional hit to him. Massive mental damage to him.
It would be to anyone, honestly.
Yeah, no, if you pour your heart and soul into something and it's just absolutely rejected the way Concord was, it's gonna fuck with you. But yeah, as of this point, it's been 2 weeks since the game shut down, and Firewalk still doesn't know what the future plan is for the game, and it seems like they've basically had a 2-week paid vacation right now, and I wouldn't be surprised if the studio was shut down, and maybe hopefully the employees get folded into other areas of Sony rather than being put on their asses.
Yeah.
Because the same thing happened with a bunch of Bungie stuff that it's a good chunk was just laid off, but also another good chunk was folded into other studios because conserve the talent where you can.
Well, and you hear about all the stories about even old standing studios, like the Battlefield developers leaving 3 or 4 games ago because they were we don't want to do this anymore. So they go and they spin off.
Or that was I think that was 2042 that hit them the hardest, where like after Battlefield either 5 or 1, or because I know they also had like a weird naming
Who could
thing.
say? Both of those are probably correct.
Yeah. the World War one, which I realize doesn't narrow it down. After that, and then a bunch of senior leadership going like, you know what, we're just gonna peace out. And then it was like just around when they were going to announce that 2042 was coming out, and then they were like, okay, so grads and interns, how do we feel about making the next generation FPS? And what we got is what we got as a result.
You just gotta wait for people to leave. But yeah, no, like this is like a real, like as funny as like we can like dog shit on like Concord, but like it's a shame, and it's probably more like
absolutely.
Yeah, and if you do, as Seth said, if you pour your heart and soul into it, and it gets so badly received that like the executives are like, nah, pull it. It'd be very interesting in 10 years' time when he tells his story to be like, what was that game supposed to look like? Before executives and people that never played a video game in
It's
their
always
life.
this isn't the game we wanted to make. Tell me about the game that you wanted to make. I'm always curious. Just any game that just doesn't any game that deviates from what people thought would happen or how people thought it would be received. I want to know how they thought that it would be received.
100%, 100%.
Every time Concord has been brought up, it seems like this is what the developers wanted to do. Like, everyone called it Discount Guardians of the Galaxy, but since they started talking about it a few years ago, and like all the history about the game and Sony just being supportive of the game, it seemed like that this was just what Firewalk wanted to do and wanted the game to be, which is really weird.
In some ways worse.
And I'm just going to quickly roll this into it as well. This is coming from resident shitbag Colin Moriarty, so take it with a massive grain of salt. He's saying this is from an insider that he's talked to from Firewalk themselves, but it's only one person that he's talked to, not like a whole crew. Free talking points. They believed that Concord was going to be the future of PlayStation. It was Herman Holst's baby. Herman Holst right now being one of the CEOs of PlayStation, where he's in charge of all the games. The dev culture was
all
toxic.
The games. Really, Saif? All the games.
Like, he oversees the gaming division of the PlayStation, while the other CEO oversees the hardware side of the division.
He oversees 3 games.
The dev culture had a problem. The dev culture had a problem with toxic positivity that halted any negative feedback, and he's claiming that the game cost Sony $400 million just in development costs, which is an absurd number and makes me not believe this at all.
Yeah.
How much did GTA 5 cost?
The most expensive Sony game at the moment is Spider-Man 2, which was around $315 million, which was a massive open world game with a lot of PS5 features, and had to pay for the Spider-Man license.
I'm assuming, like, I mean, we know that 400 million tag is bullshit, because if that were real, right? If that were real, hear me out. PlayStation would look at that and they go, okay, we need to get our money back. We'd have to charge the PS5 Pro at like $1,300. And
that's insane. No one would do that.
Yeah, no one would do that. And then probably include like we'd also need to like charge for the external disk drive at probably like another like $200.
Oh man, a Pro PlayStation 5 and it doesn't come with a disk drive. They'd have to be insane to do that.
They would, but like again, that's why we know the $400 million thing is bullshit, because like that's what Sony would have to do, which would be insane if they spent $400 million on this.
Exactly. But yeah, one person from Kotaku has come out and like they've corroborated at least the toxic positivity part of this claim, but they said they've been trying to track down the budget of the game, but 400 million is not the number they heard. So I'm assuming it's drastically lower. Like, this seems like a game that would at most probably break the 200 million line for Sony.
Well, I think you got to factor in like marketing costs as well. Like there are heaps of billboards everywhere.
Yeah,
that's always the fucking worst cost. But okay, so how about what's that Amazon fucking show they're doing? You reckon that's like a concourse?
That's not part of development costs. That wouldn't be like it might be part of like it could be part of like marketing costs or something. I don't know, maybe like if you just aggregate everything up, like everything to do with Concord, if you put it in under one umbrella, maybe 400 million. I don't know. Like, he's saying it's not under all one umbrella because he went on and said this doesn't include purchasing the company. Because if you included purchasing the company, I could believe it's starting to scrape to 400 million. but not including that, it's just the development of the game. No, that's way too much money.
Maybe it includes like the 3 remasters of Concord to come in the next 3. I don't know.
Yes, the Naughty Dog license of the game's just been released. Let's remaster it.
But yeah, the entire internet has just taken this man's word for it and ran with it because it's negative Concord news. Why would anyone question it? It's just free dunking points.
Yeah, shit bangs on Twitter.
But now we get to move on to good Sony news, which is the PlayStation Vita hunting game Freedom Wars has escaped the beta and is coming out on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. Also Switch and PC. It seems like from what we understand, Sony was just like, yeah, no, you can have the license to this. We're not using it, so go ahead and do whatever you want with it to the developers at DIMS. And so Sony has nothing to do with this at the moment. It's being made by DIMS and published by Namco Bandai. And they're just getting it out onto whatever they can to make as much money as they can. But the developers have been like, you know, it's a 10th anniversary. We really wanted to do something with Freedom Wars. Doing a remaster was the easiest thing to do for us. But we also, if this does really well, we really want to do a sequel.
Did you ever play it on Vita?
I did not. I heard it was really good, but I never got the chance to play it.
It's so, this is again peak bloody Monster Hunter phase, but there wasn't a Monster Hunter game on Vita. You could play you could do the like PlayStation Portable game.
Yeah, the back compat.
Yeah, the back compat. And so I had Freedom Unite on there, which again, still an excellent Monster Hunter game. But this was lauded as a Sony Monster Hunter. Well, okay, technically the previous one's a Monster Hunter as well, but this was when they shifted to DS, and I think actually I don't remember what year this came out relative to.
This would have been well, it's 10th anniversary, so it would have been a 2014 game.
Yeah, which I can't say which side it puts it out between Monster Hunter 3 and Monster Hunter 4, but either way, a DS game. And so people were like, hey, this game is very Monster Hunter-y. And so I have this game and played it for a couple hours, but it was right at the end of me playing Vita regularly, and that was sort of like picking up like uni classes picked up and then life picked up and everything else, and I never really got into it in the same way that I got into Monster Hunter games, but I enjoyed
for me,
what I played.
I was poor, so I had to be picky about my games, and I was like, I have a Vita for Gravity Rush and Persona 4, and those were my big games on that system. And then Freedom Wars came and went, and you'd never be able to find a copy of this game because it was short printed because it was incredibly niche.
Yeah, seems like
Neat.
Overall very positive that it's coming back, and I don't know.
I'm going to get it to support the vision.
But yeah, I would also be.
I'm looking at this screenshot of a baby's just born with 1 million years of prison debt. And I'm like, correct. Yeah, no, this is incredibly funny. I need to support this division.
See, you say funny, but someone looks at that and goes, we could there's something here. Anyway, we get to move on. We have Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered getting an ESRB rating, which
Yay.
Basically guarantees it to be remastered.
Also throwing in with this article, someone, I forget who said it, but someone has come out and said, yeah, no, there's going to be a state of play this week and next week, sorry, because they said this last week when this was dropped. And there's going to be another remaster that gets announced that's going to be even less exciting than Horizon Zero Dawn. And people were trying to figure it out, and it seems like the consensus is it's going to be a Days Gone remaster.
Who asked for this?
No one. No one did.
But
Horizon Zero Dawn already runs at like 4K 60 on PS5 because of getting a PS5 update when the console dropped. It runs well. It has a PC version already. They do not need to do this.
What do you mean? They're going to slap a roguelike in there and then make Naughty Dog a bunch of money?
I made that exact joke to some people. I was like, yeah, no, they're going to differentiate by putting in a roguelike mode in Horizon.
Absolutely insane.
It hurts being right all the time.
They have roguelike modes for all these games, but the game that begs for it the most doesn't have it, and it's Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart.
Holy shit, that's so true. Sad news. Anyway, yeah, we'll have to wait and see. We'll know in the next 24 hours whether Days Gone is the unenthused remaster. But speaking of unenthused, PlayStation 5 Pro got announced. Jesus Christ.
$700 US. $780 if you want the disc drive.
800 if you want the disc drive and the stand.
Yeah, 1,100 Australian dollars.
I think it's even
unhinged.
more expensive than that because I believe the number I was spouting at people was $1,360. But that was including the that was including the disc drive because I'm not going to not get the disc drive. Okay, just the console, $1,200 Australian, and then another $160 for the disc drive. So I can't even imagine the New Zealand price. That's like what, $2 grand?
$7 billion. 7 cheap. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I honestly don't fathom why you would get this.
Steve doesn't know.
This is preying on enthusiasts that just want the picture to look better. Like, no one wants this besides, like, the people that run Digital Foundry.
Yeah, like, it's every
not doing anything
console generation, the gains.
It's not doing anything spectacular like the PS4 Pro did, where it's like, we're going to have a boost mode so that games that were capped at 30 can try to target 60, and it didn't always hit 60, but there was an attempt there, and the attempt was appreciated, and so, like, I did get suckered into playing the PS4 Pro because they said, hey, Final Fantasy 15 will play at 60 FPS on this console. I'm like, okay, I believe you. Bought a PS4 Pro, played Final Fantasy 15, and it's like, wow, this doesn't run at 60 at all. But then Kingdom Hearts 3 did run at 60 properly if you set the console to 1080p mode, and then Crash Bandicoot 4 did run at 60, and so those two games made it worth it in my eyes, especially because I traded in my original PS4 that was dying.
So just the idea of, I'm not saying Crash Bandicoot 4 shouldn't run at 60 FPS, but just in my head, right? Crash Bandicoot 1 through 3, really old game, came out ages ago. Sly Cooper 1 through 3, really old, came out ages ago. Sly Cooper 4, still really old, came out ages ago. Crash Bandicoot 4, therefore, should be old, should have come out ages ago. No, came out recently, doesn't hit 60 FPS.
That's, to be fair, they call it Crash Bandicoot 4, but it's more like Crash Bandicoot 8 or something.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Who's counting?
Technically, sure.
I was counting.
Crash Tag Team Racing, where you at?
God, man, that was a good game. It was just so cool how you could fuse the fucking cast together. Holy shit. Yeah. When I played that at a friend's house, man, that almost made me nearly cave and buy a PlayStation 2, but my parents loved me, so they had an Xbox Huge.
But yeah, a lot of what the PS5 Pro is doing is that they're trying to advance, like, graphical fidelity rather than performance. So they're upgrading the GPU, they're advancing the ray tracing, and they're doing what's they're calling AI-driven upscaling with PlayStation Spectral Super Resolution, or as everyone online has been calling it, PISA technology.
Me after a gajillion beers.
It's the PlayStation version of like what Nvidia does with DLSS or AMD does with FSR.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to try and explain it on the podcast, but basically...
These are just fucking words and acronyms. What does it do?
I was about to get into that.
No, you don't do anything.
It increases the OMG WTF BBQs.
What it does is it add like a pixel by pixel. It takes a pixel by pixel sample in real time and then tries to do pixel matching next to them to try and clean up the picture. FSR was the absolute worst of this because it would create ghosting effects that looked horrible. DLSS was fine, and PSSR is like in the middle where it's like it's not as bad as FSR, but it's not as good as DLSS. But these things are like technology that you have to take a zoomed in magnifying glass look at the picture of the game picture screen cap to be able to tell what it's doing. And at that point, it's like, I do not give a shit about this at all.
My PS5 is in performance mode. That is where it stays.
Yeah, they say at the beginning of the PS5 Pro announcement, 75% of people play in performance mode. So here is a console where we try to make graphics better. Because developers don't care about those stats. They want to make the ray tracing look better. The funniest one to me, actually, is that Gran Turismo 7 on the Gran Turismo 7 right now, on graphics fidelity mode, runs at 4K native. When you put it in a PS5 Pro, it's no longer 4K native, it's 4K upscaled because they put ray tracing in to make the reflections better.
Insane.
That's pretty funny.
What are the Xbox mid-year refreshes going to be called?
Stupid console. We will not be buying, I hope. And by I hope, it's like specifically, Stephen, I hope this isn't how you get a PS5.
Nah, when I move back in with my parents next year, Dad's got a PS5, so I'll just be playing that.
That's
Nice.
fair.
He doesn't, because he gets like motion sick off it because he's plugged it into his like big projector, and because he loves like Gran Turismo. He plays Gran Turismo, but he gets like motion sick off it because the screen's too big. Fucking idiot. But why don't you put it down to a smaller screen, Dad? I don't want it.
Play it on a CRT monitor.
But you might as well.
Before going into the next article, I would also like to point out everyone online was dogging on the PS5 Pro, calling it a useless console.
Very
And-
true.
Just keep that in mind when we go into the next article.
Sure, but the final thing I'll say before jumping into that one, PlayStation coming out and saying, yeah, it's basically because we don't have to compete with Xbox that we can kind of just do what we like
PlayStation
here.
didn't say that. That was analysts saying that, like business analysts.
Fine, but I think they still have a point.
They do. Absolutely. I just wanted to give the context that it wasn't Sony saying it themselves, so they're not arrogant enough to go out there and say this. It's just people whose job it is to tell us what the businesses think is telling us that.
Yeah. Anyway, so Steve, question: are you gonna be buying PS5 Pro?
No. I'm going to use this because the PlayStation 5 is going to like drop down to like $0 and I'm going to buy one for cheap.
Seth, are you gonna buy a PS5 Pro?
Absolutely not. If my PS5 dies, I'm just going to get a PS5 Slim.
Okay, for the
Why
sake of
would
the
it
bit,
die?
I need one of you to say that you're gonna buy a PS5 Pro.
No, I'm not being suckered into that.
Hey, Steve, buddy.
Patrick, are you going to buy a PS5 Pro? You know, commit to
Absolutely
your own
fucking
bit.
not. No, because I need to be the one that like calls me a fucking idiot for doing so because they just announced a PS5 Pro remaster. Ladies and gentlemen, Sony have done it again. Big claps for
Remastered
Sony.
before it's even released.
It is a limited edition console design going back to the retro PS1 style.
I
This
like the
fucks.
look.
I'll admit it. This fucks. There you go.
It does.
I said it.
I like the look. Alright, yeah. So also the PS5 Pro doesn't come with a disc drive. I think we mentioned that. The
we
PS5
did.
Pro limited edition PlayStation 1 style color. It doesn't come with a disc drive, but it comes with a replaceable faceplate. So when you buy the disc drive, it'll still match the console.
Hang on.
God,
So
I hate
is this
Sony.
hang on, no. I thought the whole thing was a fucking faceplate. No. I like how they included the PlayStation Portal. That gets a limited edition, even though like 3 people own that. Good for them. for doing it.
Apparently that sells really well, actually.
Holy shit. Why?
Like, what would it mean?
I
Like,
don't know.
Really well, like if you predict to sell 4 of them and you sell 3 of them, like, congratulations, you've won. Like,
By really well, it's like, we made 10,000 of these, we sold all 10,000, we're going to do a restock of another 10,000. Oh, look, they all sold out as well. So the demand is
Maybe I'm
keeping
the
up with
bad
the
guy.
supply.
Which
holy
idiot's
shit!
buying this?
PlayStation Portal has sold between 420 and 630,000 units. Yeah,
What
yeah.
the
Sorry,
fuck?
I was unfamiliar with your game.
If I had a PlayStation Portal for every game that PlayStation has, I would have 2 PlayStation Portals.
At the end of the fewer than 3% of United States PS5 owners have purchased a Portal. Okay, I guess when you put it in percentages. But they did those earbuds with it as well. Remember that? Man, they're really taking you guys for a ride.
I mean, only
no.
if you buy them. I haven't bought any of those accessories. I will say, though, the DualSense kind of fucks. I will buy the DualSense.
Ah, damn it, Seth. How many? You got like 40 of those. You don't need them.
No, I don't. I've got 2 controllers, and one of them's got stick drift, and my brother's using the other one.
How do we
Simply
get
drift the stick the other way.
Oh, hang on. Multi-stick drifting.
Multi-stick drift. See, Steve gets it. Anyway, yeah, no, it is a cool design, but like, guys, it's not even out yet.
Not enough to spend the money they're going to charge because they announced that it's going to be in a big bundle. They haven't dropped the price for it. Like, they haven't told us what the price of that big bundle is going to be.
Honestly, I think they're scared.
They are. After they dropped the $700 price tag last week, they're scared to tell us how much this big bundle with the PS5 Pro, a controller, and a bunch of other weird accessories like a paperclip. They're scared to say how much it's going to cost.
It's your favorite bath bomb, a toaster in the style of a PS1.
I will say though, one of the accessories I kind of like. They made a USB-C cable where one end of it is the original PlayStation controller port.
How? What?
It's got the mold of the port around it, but it's a USB-C port sticking out of it. So it's massively oversized, but I think it's funny.
Okay.
I'll see if I can track down a picture.
Yeah, no, I see. Yeah. Okay. I thought the USB-C part of it was like in the mold. It was like, how the fuck do you use the cable? Yeah. Okay. Seeing a picture, I now understand.
Yeah.
I hate how it looks like that. Fuck you, man.
I think it's incredibly funny, and I kind of want it. But I don't think they're going to sell that separately. I think that's going to be part of the Pro bundle.
Yeah, so the bundle is a PlayStation 2 DualShocks, the weird faceplate thing for the disc drive, a fucking cradle, and the cable tie things.
Yeah.
Plus the weird USB and some stickers.
Stickers and a paperclip. It also includes a vertical stand.
Come on, Steve, I need more enthusiasm. This is a fantastic deal. It's only going to cost you $2,000.
It probably will over here.
Oh, I want to cry.
Yeah. Anyway, look, it doesn't matter. Let's move on. No one's going to buy this game.
Actually, no. Sadly, after people dunked on the PS5 Pro's price for a week when they announced this, those same people started going, actually, no, this is kind of based. I'm going to buy it no matter what the price is because PlayStation nostalgia is getting me. Fucking suckers. A lot of them.
Absolutely.
I'm only being tricked into buying the controller because it has the colored buttons. The worst thing about the PS5 controller is that they made the X, square, triangle, and circle buttons monochrome.
Yeah, which is funny because looking at a PS5 controller right now, like, I when I think of it, even when I think of the PS5 controller in my head, it's still got the colored buttons. Like, yeah. It's never not had monochrome buttons.
Ah.
Trippy.
It's only been color. I'm only excited. Anyway, doesn't matter. Move on. We've been talking about this for 4 years. Could have afforded a PS5 Pro.
I thought you would have liked us dunking on PlayStation this entire time.
I just don't like talking about PlayStation. If you acknowledge my enemy, he's real.
PlayStation 5 Pro isn't real. It can't charge you $2,000.
We will not be buying.
Well, with that, we may not be buying a PlayStation 5 Pro, but we are buying that is the end of the news for this week.
God, we were doing so good on time, by the way. Like, early on, I looked at our recording. It was like, oh, hey, we're 3 hours into this, and we're almost done the news docket. And now we're 3.5 hours in.
And now we have done the news docket. But there are bits of that, like, some of it will be used in various bits and pieces. However, that does take us to the end of the news and the end of episode 120. We're on all of the social media platforms. We're on Fast Travel Lounge on X, formerly Twitter.com, minus one of the L's, Blue Sky, fasttravellounge.bluesky.social, Facebook at Fast Travel Lounge, and email fasttravellounge@gmail.com. Any kind of feedback on this is always very welcome, very appreciated. Some kind of like rating, star rating, comment, if you will. Anything teasing for next ep? I know for me it'll probably be more Space Marine.
I don't know. What am I playing at the moment?
Hopefully by next recording I finish Neo the World Ends With You.
and
Also, we will
Steve
have an
will be
audience
pre-ordering
question
a PS5
next week.
Pro.
That was good. You both spoke at the same time. I'm playing No More Heroes 3. Maybe I'll talk about that.
What did you say about audience question?
I said next week we will cover the audience question I just saw in the emails.
Ah, cool. Well, look forward to that. But until then, I've been Patrick. I've been joined by Saif and Steve. Thank you so much for listening. And we'll catch you next time. Goodbye.
Happy birthday, my lady.